we're gonna get a little bit crazy. Wild and maybe even vulgar, if you please. It's after dark and we're gonna light it up. We got some fun in store for you, no tease. It's time for midnight sesh after dark. A little naughty, will hopefully make you chuckle. But we ain't trying to hurt nobody, so get ready quick on the double, cause it's time for midnight sesh after dark.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, it's time for After Dark. That's right, we have a hell of a panel here. We fucking knew it. We got a big story to talk about. We've got a bunch of other stories to talk about, but we're not going to waste too much time here. Let's go through the panel. We got CC hailing from Canada. How you doing?
Glad to be here. Excited.
Glad to have you here. Yes, indeed. A lot to talk about today. We also have the price of reason, which generally goes up and up every day.
Because of inflation, I think it's going up. Yeah.
Well, and stupidity.
That too.
How's
it
comes
going?
at a premium. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. We also have back again. It's been a while, but we're glad to have her back. Welcome back, Six.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a minute. I like the intro, how it has a rainbow in it. I'm sure there's nothing that Tom wants to share with us regarding that.
What?
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 I thought we agreed that was price.
I still don't know why we agreed to it, but
Why didn't anybody think of this sooner? We didn't have a woman to woman explain to us that was fucking gay.
Well, women-splaining would be nagging. So if I bring it up 5 more times throughout the show, then that's women-splaining.
No, so once in a while, you got to have that person, that woman that goes, wait a minute, that's kind of gay, because guys
Wait a
just
minute,
don't
motherfucker.
notice.
Oops.
right.
Sorry.
And that's what Six said about me today, but I don't even know why.
What did I say? Okay, so I posted a link. Backstage before the show started. It was a link to some boobies. And
Right. And I saw the
That's
movies.
why we were late.
everybody reacted, and then Price says, "What am I supposed to be looking at here?"
No, I mean
And-
the thing is, you made it
And
seem
Six
like it's
is
a
like,
trick
if I have
question.
to tell you, then
No, you made it seem like it was a trick question. She's like,
They
people
were
will
big
watch
boobies.
this. Right, I saw the big boobies.
Okay, so maybe you're not a boob kind of guy. Anyway,
I am
It
more
was
of a
very
gay
clear
guy.
there was a woman with boobies, but I don't know what more you want me to do with the information.
Bounce. It was
The fact
Kanye
that
was a
you have to
beekeeper.
ask her what more to do is the whole
That's
point.
true. You know what,
did he just say
Mikey?
he didn't know what to do with the boobies?
No, okay. All right, I deserve that. I deserve that one.
I saw
You
them,
got
but
me.
I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
It's not that I didn't know what you do with them. I didn't know what you wanted me to do with them.
That's like the 40-year-old virgin, man.
That would not
They were
surprise
like-
me.
Bags of sand.
Price after we need to start a new channel called Price After Hours, and then it's like late at night, and this chick comes in topless, and he's like, and we're all there, and he's like, "Well, what do I do now?"
You just kind of
we have
slap them around a little bit.
we have one more panelist joining us today. Always a rare treat, but we love it. He's the one, the only, your hero and mine, Mexican Iron Man.
Hello, people of the internet. Hello. I am a Disney stock loss expert. I am also an expert in rarisms. Thank you for having me. This show always brings me joy, whether I'm on the panel or not, or just listening while doing tax returns. Great to see you, Six. Haven't done that.
I heard
to you in a
Joy
while.
quit.
What?
Yeah, Joy quit. So we're gonna have to get you a new escort.
Joy Behar from The View.
No.
Is that who you're
what?
dating?
What?
No. It's
No.
in his contract, in his writer, he gets Joy every time he does the show, but Joy
Yeah.
quit.
Oh.
So we got to find a new.
You did a funny.
In fact, it's weird that she jumped out a window.
Yeah. Never to be seen
Okay,
again.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to this one. I'm not talking to this one. I'm not here 4 minutes. I'm not even through my intro. And I'm already being attacked.
This is true.
My feelings are hurt on the internet. Who do I call? Oh, I better call myself since
Yeah.
calls all the day.
The Butthurt Report with Mike
Disney
Knoll.
might hire you.
Hello, this is the Butthurt Report with Mike Knoll.
Yep.
Anyway, we got a lot to freaking discuss today. Holy shit. We got Sabertooth Raptor coming in already with two super chats, firing them hot, double barreled. It says, rolling the dice of fate. Ian McKellen to have another decade with us. The one and only Gandalf and Magneto. Rip Don Sutherland, legendary actor. Yes. So as far as we know, Ian McKellen's supposed to be making a full recovery from his little spill he had during his play. And where was it? London? I think it was.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah, but that came out pretty quick that he should be fine. He probably just I don't think he broke anything necessarily. So that's always a good thing.
Why isn't he returning to the stage?
Probably because he's hurt.
I heard initially that he was expected to make a speedy recovery. So
Yeah.
I assumed he was going to be back on stage, and now that he's not, I'm like,
Probably does an insurance claim.
He is 85 years old, and I don't know how he was doing a fight scene at 85 years old on a
He's
stage.
spry.
That's a lot to ask
He's
of an
Ian
85-year-old.
they were just
Yeah.
bitch slapping each other. No big deal.
You don't want to see old men fight. They get vicious because they know they ain't got much time left, so there ain't nothing to lose. Ain't you ever seen Grumpy Old Men? That fight went on so long they made a Grumpy Old Men 2.
No, you know what they do? They take their walkers and they do bumper cars with each other.
That too, and sword fights. We do that just for fun, though. See, I can't wait to get old Mikey where we can just have sword fights with our canes. That's gonna.
Oh
be
yeah,
so
no,
fucking
but I'm
awesome.
gonna destroy you because I'm a better.
You probably will, and that's when I'll pull out my nunchuck cane. Hey, Script.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Script.
Well, we were just about to talk about a fellow Canadian of yours that passed away, sadly, Donald Sutherland, a legend as F13, F314, sorry. Sabertooth Raptor says here. Yeah, you may, of course, know him from MASH, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, more recently in Hunger Games films, for being there for the conception of Kiefer Sutherland.
The Hunger Games one was more of the check collecting phase of his career.
Yeah, I mean he was well, he's married to Shirley Douglas, who in Canada is the daughter of Tommy Douglas, who helped spawn our provincial healthcare system, which is being basically bastardized for the last.
So another
25 years.
spawn of his, huh?
Well, I mean, Tommy Douglas
Vicariously.
kind of. I mean, it's Kiefer Sutherland's grandfather, right? So, but yeah. It's,
So it'd be the Spawn E.
Spawn E, yeah. But yeah, no, he was fantastic. I mean, he had an iconic voice, right? Like that's kind of what set him apart from this competition. Is he had something that was kind of soft, yet authoritative, and I mean,
He had an edge about him too.
a little. Oh, I mean, he's a hippie. I mean, there's that.
No, what I mean is like, there's some of his bits in movies where until you know the movie where like he's got this edge about him to where he could flip on you, kind of like a
YouTuber.
He could play a good or evil guy and just switch.
That's what I mean. And he was very good at playing a good guy with a twist, right? Like to where he twists to a bad guy without you expecting it because of all the reasons you just said. Script.
Yeah.
So especially later in life, I remember he played a lot of villains.
Right, because and at some point, I think if you saw him in a movie, you know that he could end up being, if they're looking for a bad guy, it could be him at the end.
Yeah, because he'd be the one that you at first least suspect, but then realize, oh no, that makes sense now.
But the problem is that he was so much used for that I feel like at some point when you just saw him in the movie, you already started suspecting that he
It
was gonna
did get
be,
to that
Oh,
point.
right.
Yeah.
definitely by the early 2000s, you kind of figured
Yes.
that out. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because by the time, but I loved also that he was in like the Puppet Masters, which was a nice nod to the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mhm.
He's done so many movies. Like, I mean, that's the thing. He's a guy who's
he-
been in tons and tons of films.
He was going to do his 200th this year, which I think was Heartland. I don't know if he's still. I don't know if
I know it was
I
listed,
think
but I
he's
don't know
gonna
if
be
he shot
replacing
it.
that
Yeah.
because he's it was in pre-production as far as I knew. Like it was announced last year, I think, just before the
Yeah,
strike.
that's what I was gonna say because I saw it on IMDb, but it's still, I don't know if he shot it or not.
Yeah, but no, I mean it's a sad day. A fun fact is that like I've met Kiefer Sutherland a few times, and I've also met two of his lookalikes that work with him as well. And they are uncanny lookalikes. So yeah, it's pretty sad. But he has one hell of a career. He has a lot of great stories with a lot of people in the industry and those outside of it. I mean, he's well loved, great character actor, great leading man. Yeah, it's gonna be sad, but 88's a good year to go, man. I mean, it's not too young, but you would have appreciated a lot more years if that was a possibility, especially for.
He was even in the sequel to Backdraft. That's how committed he was. Nobody else showed up but him and Billy Baldwin.
Yep.
Come to think of it, whatever happened to Billy Baldwin? I feel like there was a moment that they thought that he would be like
Well, he used to be the lesser Baldwin brother until one of them became a murderer.
right.
No, he hasn't been convicted yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, manslaughter, I guess.
Right, but they tried to kind of make him a thing. He was like the younger and more like saucy brother. Yeah, he was with Sharon Stone and Sliver. He was in Backdraft. They tried to like really peddle
Steven
him.
was actually the one that I think was the youngest, wasn't he? Right?
Yes, I think Steven's the youngest. I think Billy's the one whose daughter.
He was
married
like the
Justin
middle syndrome kind of brother. But
Which
I
one is
love
married? Which one is married to Justin Bieber? Or which one's daughter is married to Justin
I think
Bieber?
it's
I have
Billy.
no
I think
idea.
Billy's daughter's married to Justin Bieber.
I don't even get that deep in the shit. But I loved him. I loved Donald Sutherland in like Space Cowboys. That was always a fun one with him.
Oh, he was great in that. He
Wasn't he
memorized
in
the
Animal
eye chart.
House?
Outbreak. Yes, Animal House. He played the professor in that.
Professor, the naughty professor.
I love that scene where he's like, "You all want to get high." 6 Degrees of Separation with Will Smith. He was really good in. Of course, Buffy. Like, see, and that's part of the reason I could never get into that series, to be honest with you, was it's like, how are you going to replace Donald Sutherland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Head was good, but he's also a very different character. But yeah, Donald Sutherland. Oh, dude. I mean, I actually prefer the movie over the series in general, just because Christy Swanson was fantastic in that. Donald Sutherland was great.
I'm in
Rutger Hauer,
agreement too.
Paul
yeah.
Rubens. I mean, the other part, dude, Donald Sutherland. He was in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in a very great remake of it. Like that's one of the few you can say, well, that was really good.
Yeah. And MASH is probably one of my favorites of his. Although I know, speaking of the series being more popular, but I mean, he originally played Hawkeye in the movie, and I mean, he probably just got lucky that Alan Alda made it his own and went a different direction, kind of in a way, as far as Alan
MASH
Alda
was
goes.
like MASH is the vignettes of situations happening during that war, and the TV series itself was like, no, we can make this into a bit more comprehensive. And I mean, it worked. I think MASH worked better as a TV series, but I do love the movie a lot because it's kind of like a spiritual Animal House to it, in sorts.
Yeah.
A lot of pranks, things getting around, just trying to.
Well, that and you
survive
can
the
tell
Korean-
it's not really the Korean War.
No.
It's the Vietnam War. We all know. And then SFX F314 Saber-Tooth Raptor sends in another 2. It says, incoming Mexican Iron Man rent. Greatest.
Really? Already? I just got here.
Greatest non-tuber producer. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be much ranting from you today, Mike, because a lot of it's going to be like, I mean, basically, I think you're going to be like the thumbnail today.
I am.
Just like the rest of them.
I fucking knew it! Oh!
It's a great thumbnail too, like because it's, hey, we got literally from the mouth of babes confirmation of a lot.
Yeah. I was pretty proud of my thumbnail today. I even showed it to Andre. That's how proud I was. I showed it to Dad. I'm like, hey, what do you think?
Okay, I have a question. How come as a wrench, I'm not able to ban Nicholas Horton from the chat?
Because he's a wrench too. I don't know.
Why would you ban Nick Horton?
Because he's look at that chat. Look what's on screen right now. This is horse shit.
But you love Elf.
Did you see the guy who got lucky and found that huge fucking elf fucking? Oh my God, he got.
Dude, that's
just
not
those.
lucky.
Just
Dude,
those talking elves alone are worth like $300 a pop in the box, man. Holy shit!
That's what I say to the elf collection. Let me tell you this: if I
want a
walked in,
talking elf.
if I walked into a house and I saw a room filled with that horse shit, I'm going back to the truck and getting my fucking flamethrower.
Mike, you don't understand. It's Christmas, 1987. Here I am, 7 years old. Come downstairs, and I wanted nothing more than a talking Pee Wee Herman and a talking elf and some real Ghostbuster stuff. I got the real Ghostbuster stuff, didn't get the talking Pee Wee.
Wah.
I saw another thing there, one more thing there that looked like it could be elf. Open it up, it is elf. But oh no, it's the cheaper one that don't talk. Because I was poor.
Well, guess what? Now you don't want one because I don't want one, and because you're my friend and you have to support my emotional, ridiculous nuances.
I like turtles.
Fucking elf.
All right. Well, Nicholas Horton says, well, I guess you're not a wrench. I thought you were, maybe. I don't know why you can't block him, but don't do it.
He's a member. That's the other part.
He's a member. That's probably why you can't do that to members. He's been here for 32 months, almost 3 years, man.
Racism around here.
It's not about race. It's about money.
Yes,
No.
it is. I saw that video. I saw the video from the girl from the Acolyte. Anytime someone says something I don't like, it's racism.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, hopefully. We got so much to talk about today. We're already 20 minutes into the show. We haven't even gotten to any of the topics besides Donald Sutherland. Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland, who had a great performance in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Mexican Iron Man is elf YouTuber. Also, no jumping out of windows. He kind of does need to be reminded of that, but I don't think he will on the show unless one of his exes show up. And then Elf himself is here, and he's been a member for 22 months. See, we even have Elf as a member. And then Dash Attack is in the house, sends in 2. Says discrimination suit is going to be glorious. Hi, bub. Where we're going to get to that in just a moment, right after we get through Wolverine Snicket and their $5 super chat here. He says, I loved him as Oddball in Kelly's Heroes. Oh, yeah, Kelly's Heroes is another great one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's the thing. We could sit here for the next hour just talking about his performances. That's how many, like Script just said, he was about to do his 200th movie.
Yeah, if you gave 1 minute, we'd have about 5 hours of content.
For a while. And I mean, there's plenty of movies that just, nobody remembers, but he's got so many great ones that we do remember that we would be here for so long. And Captain Fandom Nerd is in the house. Howdy, Captain. And he has become a member. Let's see what level you have become. I just hit a button. Maximum effort puppy. Let's see here. We haven't done this one in a tick. There you go. There's your maximum effort puppy. Thank you, Captain Fandom Nerd, for your support here on the channel. And with that, we are going to get to our topics at hand. Now, before we get into the main Disney topic, there's a couple of minor things that I just wanted to blow through real quick. We got our first look at the Batman Caped Crusader from JJ and his acolyte, or Jar Jar Abrams, as we lovingly call him from here from now on, because Lobby. We got our first look at his series. Now, the series itself don't look all that bad, but it's just the people that it's coming from. That looks bad.
Hamish Linklater is a bad choice.
What the fuck is with her tits? Like, what the fuck is that shit?
Mosquito bites.
What the hell? I gotta agree with Script with this for once on the tit thing. Like, that ain't right.
For once, Script is always right about boobs.
Well, you agree with him just because you boys like big bulbous boobs, but yes.
Yes, but those are Chuck Schumer tits. I mean, that's
not even a tit.
Chuck Schumer.
Well, he posted that thing on over the holiday weekend, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Barbecue, and yeah, he had a pair of tits, and those are.
Oh God, you people!
What did they do to Our Lady Heart? What the fuck? Who is this guy?
That's probably Lieutenant Gordon.
That's a guy.
My God, it looks like a manly woman.
That's Lieutenant Washington Gordon.
And that, of course, is Gordon, of course.
Lieutenant Washington Gordon. So
And the only good thing I think about the series is they do have, I think, Christina Ricci playing Catwoman. Finally, and she gets stuck in a Jar Jar Abrams fucking cartoon.
There's some decent tits on that one.
Yeah, they don't ruin her.
Yeah, that's the best thing I've seen so far besides Batman. Bruce don't look all that bad, I guess. And there's probably Selena without any costuming on.
I mean, for the most part, for like Batman and Catwoman and some of the non-main character models, the modeling and styling is fine. It's just, I mean, okay, so Hamish Linklater is basically one of the biggest nepotism Hollywood babies out there.
Okay, so that's the guy who's doing the voice of Batman, right?
Yeah, like his grandfather was a novelist. He's a pretentious playwright. He's a snobby jerk off. He's not likable at all. He gets work because he's a nepo kid.
Well, let's play this because there was a trailer to go along with this.
Sure, go for it.
So people know what you're talking about. Yeah. Here we go.
In Gotham, a mask can hold the power to hide who you are.
It does sound like Keanu Reeves trying to be Kevin Conroy.
No, it sounds like
it sounds like Lego Batman.
It has that tinny kind of sound that you get with AI music.
It does, but it sounds a lot like Jensen Ackles, who voiced Batman and sucked at it too.
It's as if somebody's doing a parody, like Will Arnett. That's why I was thinking of Will Arnett. Like it's not to be taken.
Well, that's what
seriously.
it reminds me of is Keanu in the animal one. With
Super
Crypto Super Pets. Thank you. Because it does sound like when Keanu's trying to do that kind of a voice.
Or create who you are.
Now you hear it, don't you?
Yeah.
In the Matrix. But the time has come to shed our masks. In the Matrix. Unveil the heroes and villains.
I can't
of
unhear the
Matrix.
Caped Crusader.
Who's voicing that?
McKenna Grace.
Hamish Linklater.
Who was it?
Hamish Linklater.
Hamish, that's his name, yeah.
Toby Stevens.
Anybody
Reed
that's called
Scott,
Hamish should
Dan
voice
Donahue.
Batman.
Gary Anthony Williams. Jason Watkins. John DiMaggio. Crystal Joy Brown.
Okay, whatever they did, they used. Okay, this has been AI'd. They probably have a system like I have that I fucked with for Andre, for those who may not have heard it yet.
Our story follows Ellen Brody, who believes that a shark is targeting her family out of revenge.
Yeah, see, you can do that real easily. And that's what it sounds like to me. Like they just threw this together with using his voice that he did for the show script, but using AI to do it.
And then
why would they? Why couldn't they just let him do it? It's just some stupid
It's
thing.
cheaper and easier.
It's actually a skip of sound mixing. It skips a number of steps of sound mixing to do it that way. And of course, J.J. Abrams would be the producer behind that. So
yep.
Well, it's cheap, but it
Sounds
sounds
honestly,
awful.
this whole trailer looks like it was
Michelle
put together by
Bonilla,
AI. Honestly,
Eric Morgan Stewart. Tom Kenny. Minnie Driver. Diedrich Bader. Jamie Chung. Christina Ricci. And I'm Hamish Linklater. I am.
well, I guess he is actually
Batman.
doing it.
no, he is doing it, but it's being it's post processed. But here's a
Post processed, yeah.
You have Diedrich Bader, who did voice of Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold and did a great job at it. And
Well, yeah, he's got a great manly voice.
because he is a manly guy. Hamish Linklater is
Right now, it doesn't sound promising based on
No.
this thing.
No, he's not going to have a very, even if his Bruce Wayne voice is his normal voice, it's not going to be too well. One of the biggest problems with Linklater, and not many people have picked this up, but if you're in the industry like I am, he does not exhale when he talks. He inhales when he talks, which is why his voice sounds always so weird. And that's a problem because you can tell when you're listening to that, he is inhaling to get that raspiness.
I
He's
can't
not
even
exhaling.
do a very good Kevin Conroy, and I could probably do a better job than that. Because first of all, they need to get away from Kevin. They need to leave Kevin in the past. Let his voice be his voice.
Yeah.
Stop trying to mimic it. And hell, my Bat Tom voice would be better than that.
Well, your Bat
I
Tom
was
is a
gonna say
Christian
Bat
Bale.
Tom.
I prefer the Pat Tom. Yeah.
Welcome to Gotham City. We got
I'll
lots of
take
bad
it.
guys here. Lots of
That
bad
would at
people
least
here.
make me smile.
I mean, imagine the adventures. Bat Tom teams up with Max and Iron Man, and they solve crime from their base of operations at the local Gotham City night strip club.
I would watch
the
that.
knockers on Catwoman? Why do I keep talking low like this? It's really weird.
They gave her knockers. I give them that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Six has been quiet here. What did you think of this, Six? Any?
I think that I regret starting off the stream talking about tits. Apparently that's
I was
like
gonna say, because now you
recurring
can't get away
thing
from
now.
it.
No, I don't like the guy's voice, but I do like the animation. And I
Well,
don't
we
care
actually-
about the size of the boobies.
I mean, actually, we haven't really seen any animation per se.
Yeah,
This
it's
is just
a title.
The
just a title
stills,
thing.
the stills. Sorry.
Oh, the stills. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, other
Then we
than
have
that Harley Quinn
scribbles.
thing, the stills were okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they did to Harley. Hey, Scribe.
But I won't
Hello.
have time to watch this. So
Yeah, it's on Amazon. This is the one that they didn't decide to pick up for HBO Max, and Jar Jar Abrams went and took and sold to Amazon. So that's what that is. And then speaking of Matt Reeves, because he's also a part of that, I'm not going to show this whole trailer because I know Warner Brothers would nail us.
But it is kind of comical how we got an announcement that the Batman 2 is delayed yet again.
Did we? I didn't see that. I missed that actually. But yeah, so we got Strong Whammon taking over the Penguin show with no Penguin in it. I refuse to call this the Penguin. He doesn't even look, act, sound remotely anything like the Penguin. It's basically Richard Kind trying to be Robert De Niro. I said it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Nothing in this trailer evoked Batman whatsoever.
I'll give you that. It does feel like they're putting the Batman name on something completely different, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be a bad show.
Oh, it would probably be a great crime drama about the rise of a nasty gangster.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
But it doesn't have. I mean, this is the mistake that Warner Brothers has been making with Batman since the '89 movie. They keep trying to get it more serious, more darker, whatever, more gritty, without actually like leading into the fact that, well, if you keep going in this direction, it's getting harder and harder to believe in a character like Batman would function in this city.
Not just Batman, but Clayface, certain other characters that are a little bit more
extreme. Yeah.
Extreme. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in this world, all you can have is like basically a very gangster-like Penguin, which really doesn't act anything like the Penguin.
Right.
A Joker who's just basically a maniac. A Unabomber fucking Riddler. Like, I mean, like, what?
Well, they keep trying to like one up Nolan in his whole aesthetic and everything.
Yes, and that's as far as you can take it, Scribbles. Exactly.
Yeah. Nolan went right up to the line of going past the camp and actually making it fairly, so you could take it seriously. And that was it. You couldn't go any further than that because this is what you get. You get where there's no, there was something cool about having Batman's villains have that gimmick to them based on their name. Very
Right.
Dick Tracy and everything was recognizable. It set them apart and made them a little bit larger than life. And in this case, I mean, I'll give him the makeup is amazing, but you could tell me that this was just an HBO original series spin-off of The Sopranos or something, and I probably wouldn't be able to tell you otherwise.
Right.
You're right. That's where I'm
the
coming
trap,
from.
right? It's like everything has to be part of an existing IP. So you have a great idea. Now you have to attach the existing IP to it to be able to move
Why did they
forward with
put Girl Boss in there?
I don't know.
I had a moment in the trailer when I was watching the trailer. I thought, "Oh, girl boss," but I wonder if they're not if they play her as being a manipulator rather than just being stronger physically than all the men. Who's like.
I can't tell if she's going to be
I can buy
Penguin's
that.
adversary or if she's going to be one of the people to help him on his rise.
I didn't like
Because there's that scene in the trailer where she's whispering in his ear, and I feel like that's very plausible, right? Like a strong manipulative.
Oh yeah,
because the thing is,
Well,
and here's the thing I have with the trailer, because the whole story setup is this: he's coming in to take over Falcone's business because Falcone's no longer there. But Falcone's son and daughter are like, oh, the fuck you are, is what it sounds like to me. So to me, I think she's more of an adversary, unless she's going to use him to get her brother taken care of, so he's out of the equation. That could also be part of the. At the end of the day, it's like, why is this a Batman show? Why is this necessary to the world of Batman? Who gives a fuck?
No, but there was also some quote in the trailer that she's like, "I'm tired of old men taking away from me.
That's what.
Now I have to take away from the
That
men."
was the
or
moment where I was
whatever.
like,
I'm like,
Thank you,
"Shut
Price.
up."
I was like, she might as well have said old white men while she was at it. Yeah,
just basically it reminded me of what Matt Reeves did, and this is what I actually didn't like about the Batman. I didn't hate that movie, even though I didn't think it was spectacular. But the part that they were sitting around and like, oh, all these old white men or whatever. This is like it's like poetry. It rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Matt Reeves.
Yep.
Did like a callback to that stupid thing. He just dropped the white, like you said.
Yep.
I feel like I've been seeing that lately, where it's like they have to put that in there to meet the check marks to get the points. But then, are the writers actually themselves going to lean into it, or are they going to write their way around it skillfully?
Well, what Price is talking about,
he doesn't lean much into anything.
No, and that's part of the problem I had with the Batman, the movie itself, right? Because I'm sitting here watching the movie, and I never once really thought about Jeffrey Wright being cast as Gordon being a thing, right? And you guys can vouch for me on that one, especially Script and whoever else was here back then. It wasn't until I'm in the middle of the movie and all of a sudden you have this big fucking speech given to Bruce Wayne during that one funeral. And then you got the speech on top of the building with fucking Catwoman. And then I slowly realized, wait a minute here. All the bad guys are white.
Right.
And all the good guys are black. Even Bruce Wayne is a piece of shit.
It's not.
No, Alfred's a piece of shit too. Because he lied to him about his parents.
Totally.
That's the other thing. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Alfred wouldn't keep that from. Not only did you just, and this is something that Klobby fucking hated about the movie, bless him. He fucking hated what they did to the Waynes.
Oh, yeah.
Hated it. And I'm like, yes, that is horrible. How could you do that? How could you do that to them? And not only that, you doubled down by making Alfred not tell his fucking heir. Like, what the hell?
White people bad, Tom. God.
I know. It's like, so you vicariously made fucking Bruce Wayne bad in the process.
Well, it's similar to what they're doing with the Acolyte, right? The Jedi, the truth, justice, and everything else throughout the galaxy are now questionable in their morality.
Right.
Everything,
they're the bad guys.
Yeah, every established IP that had the Paragon, whatever it was, whether it was the Waynes, the Jedi, Superman, everything else, now there has to be they have to be like through a mirror darkly. They can't be pure. They can't actually be good. There has to be nuance. There has to be question. There's no right or wrong anymore. It's all just a big gray blob.
And I didn't care for it at first in the Joker, but then after reassessing the Joker and realizing the whole movie was from his perspective, that didn't bother me as much, right? Because I knew it was his version of events. We learned that as soon as we realized, oh, that shit wasn't with him this whole time. That was all in his fucking head. So how do we know what he said to Thomas Wayne? And that whole thing with Thomas Wayne wasn't in his fucking head too, right? Like, yeah.
Yes, all the unreliable narrator. That's what the movie was. That's why.
Not this movie.
No, this
movie had to shit all over them, like,
of course,
because they're white and they're rich. But anyway, I bitched about the Penguin long enough. 6 is the only one who hasn't. And Mike, I don't think you said anything yet either. So if you two want to finish us up with the Penguin, so we can move into Disney shit.
Not excited. Not gonna watch it. Boycotting.
I'm girl-cotting this.
Remember, this is also
what does that look like?
That's amortized from the previous film. Like a lot of the assets that they used in the Batman are reused for this movie, for this streaming series to try and lower overall costs.
Well, it almost looks like it takes place during part of the Batman movie, right in the wake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, 6, what did you think?
I didn't watch the trailer. Don't care.
You sent it to me this morning.
I didn't watch it though, and I told you I didn't watch it.
Yeah, you didn't watch it then. Well, it was kind of my hint to watch it because you said you were going to be on the show tonight.
Really specific with me.
I should be. That's my fault. But yeah, so anyway, I don't think you're all that interested in it, are you? Because you didn't. Did you even go see the Batman? I'm trying to remember.
I was. Tom,
Yeah, you did.
that was
Yeah.
my favorite. Remember when you and I were on Polly's channel? It was
Yeah.
in June, and we were doing our top 5 favorite movies of the year, and The Batman was my number 1.
It was your number 1 because of Twilight Boy.
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's
I
not
forgot.
why. And then Tom and I made a bet for $50 that he thinks that the Batman 2 will never make it into theaters.
That's the only time I've ever said that specifically. So you're
And I
correct.
say
Yes.
it will.
All right. We'll have to see how that rolls.
Yeah,
But
I'm a
with-
fan of the Batman, but this doesn't look interesting. I'll probably
Yeah,
press
well-
play and fall asleep.
If you didn't watch the trailer, then you must not be all that interesting. Instead, I could say, I guess.
Well, I don't
didn't
like to. I don't like to get a lot of. I don't like to see too much in a trailer,
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
and I don't care.
Well, on that note, Wolverine Snicket became a member. Let's see what level. We got Minimum Effort Puppy, Mikey's favorite one. Are you watching, Mikey?
Hell yeah. I'm right here. Ooh, Bambino got a haircut today, by the way.
Oh, did he? You should
Yep.
show us before the end of the show if he comes
All right,
in.
I'll go get him before the intro. He went for, you remember how furry he was before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you sent me a picture not that long ago.
Yeah. Well,
I get pictures of Bambino like he sends like people send pictures of their kids, y'all.
like
It's
randomly,
fucking
I'll be
adorable.
Sitting there, I'll be like, "What are you doing?"
He's sitting in the car.
Yep.
He's got him in the little seat thing,
Yep.
and then you got him sitting there just laying on whatever, and he's just doing whatever. Yeah, I've got
That's
tons of
adorable.
pictures.
I hate pretending
is.
to care about my coworkers' pictures of their kids.
Oh no, I love Mikey's kid.
It's like,
And Max too. I mean,
Oh yeah, Max too.
No, it's really cool. Max is super talented. I can't believe how talented that kid is. He's got a stage presence too.
his
And I
Uncle
told
Tom
Mike
needs
that.
to come over here and help when I set up the
said,
studio next year.
You're gonna be having to help him with some women here before too long. He's got
Oh,
that
don't worry,
stage presence.
Uncle Mike has impeccable judgment when it comes to women. Wait, what? Hold on. Wait.
Daddy Mike.
Daddy Mike. Yeah.
Uncle.
Well, I mean,
I always
Uncle
knew he
Tom.
was Snow Dub's kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know Snowed Up was that Mexican. Holy shit. Anyway, Alf is in the house and he says, "Hey Tom, I have an idea for 3 AI songs you can make based on Mikey.
no,
1, is Mikey a YouTuber or not?
no.
2, why does Mikey jump out of windows?
I don't
Well, we
jump
already
out of
know the answer to that. It's because their husbands come home. 3, who does Mikey hate more, Alf or Zack Snyder?
Alf by a mile. Alf by a mile.
I have plenty of proof of that. Everything's hashtag, what is it, greater than? And everything Zack Snyder's always greater than.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that to his math shit. He does to me all the time. All the time. Thank you for that, Alf. Then we got Joe Pat 87 who sends in $4.99, says, "If I may ask, who here remembers Cool World?" Well, I do. I love it.
do.
I found myself watching that the same week I watched If, another radically different Paramount hybrid. Well, the thing about Cool World is it came in the wake of Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Ralph Bakshi did his damnedest to do what they did in Roger Rabbit with probably what, 50-60 million dollars at that time, close to it, somewhere in there, with peanuts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think Paramount gave him $10 million to make that movie. If I remember right, it was like 8, I think it was. No, it's a great fucking flick. Definitely not for kids. I saw it a little too young, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, it's a great movie, and I hate saying it, but Shit Factory recently brought it out. So yeah, you can get it now on Blu-ray. So yeah, it's a great film. Anybody else here see it besides me and Scribe?
Oh, I've seen it. Cool World, yeah.
Cool World.
Kim Basinger, Brad Pitt.
Gabriel
Is it called
Byrne. I think it was
Cool-
I think it was the first time I ever saw Gabriel Byrne in a movie when I
It's
was a
called
kid.
Cool World. Is that a movie?
Yep. Yes.
I've never seen it, which is weird.
You might enjoy it. It's a bit out there.
It's not a good movie, but its animation is quite impressive.
I don't know. It's aged pretty well. Have you seen it lately?
I saw it a few years ago.
I said, yeah, it's definitely in a Roger Rabbit ripoff. I mean, it's not like it's even pretending not to be in a way.
Yeah, they just kind
But-
of inverted it a little.
Yeah. It's just a little more adulted up. It's definitely a Ralph Bakshi movie.
Mm-hmm.
if you
I'll have to check
enjoyed
it out.
his stuff like Fritz the Cat and stuff like that, then you'd probably dig it.
I'll
Yeah,
check
I
it
would-
out
Sorry.
when I can.
You saying Scribe?
Oh, I was going to say when I saw it as a kid, because I didn't know different things one from the other. I thought it was some kind of offshoot of like heavy metal or something because it was like adult animation kind of thing. I thought it was in that
It kind of
same
feels like
Fri-
it could be in a heavy
yeah,
metal
or
magazine.
Fritz the Cat kind of deal or something. I don't know. It's kind of mushed up in my head when I was a kid, so that's what it felt like.
You're not far off. Like it feels like it's something that could be in a heavy metal magazine, only like a comedy, story basically. If they ever, I'm trying to remember if heavy metal ever went too deep into comedy. Not well, yeah, they did the one in the movie.
Dark humor. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the whole Captain episode with where he was on trial. What's his face? I'm trying to remember his name. That one was pretty funny. And then you had fucking Harold Ramis and John Candy as the one alien. So I don't know if those were ever stories that were necessarily in heavy metal, but oh yeah, I think a Cool World could have fit right in with heavy metal. Anyway, Nikki D sends in 10 and says, what are your thoughts on Paramount speaking of Paramount, developing a remake of An Officer and a Gentleman? Think Miles Teller's a good pick for the lead. Who will they cast for Louis Gossett Jr.'s character?
I think they should leave it alone.
Michael B. Jordan.
God, I'm sick of fucking remakes.
Look, since this movie hasn't had a dozen sequels and is not exactly a movie that everybody has seen, I understand
No, don't remake
why
it. It's
Paramount
fine.
is doing it.
Yeah,
But do
but
I
what
think
do
it's
you
going to
need-
be any good? I don't know.
It was barely just a product of its time and kind of okay then. I've never thought of it as something that it doesn't seem like if you make a remake, it's going to hit all those notes that the previous one did.
I like Miles Teller, so that's the only reason I'm like, okay, maybe. Here's the thing: if you get like
Only if
Denzel
you get, like,
Washington for the Louis
Denzel
Gossett,
Washington. Yes,
I was just gonna say,
okay.
you get those two together in the movie, then now you're talking. I'm thinking, okay, maybe.
Denzel Washington and Miles Teller, maybe you could pull this off. I agree.
Because I
that
do
it-
like Miles Teller. This
this is and a good screenplay, and Teller and Denzel
I didn't like
Washington.
him in Fantastic
maybe.
Four, but
It's
No.
still an unnecessary movie. I mean, I feel like if you already
Yeah,
got those actors, do something else with them.
just re-release the original. I agree.
Yeah, no
At
kidding.
this point,
Well, I have a question about the original. Is An Officer and a Gentleman, is that describing the same person or is it two different people?
I was
The
just
same.
thinking that as far as a remake is concerned.
Well,
That's a good
if it's a
point.
remake, they'll definitely make the woman an officer.
Mm-hmm.
They should
the man
rename
is
it what it
gentleman.
currently is, which is the horse shit we're probably going to get. It's going to be an officer. Listen, it's going to be an officer and a they, them.
Well, I was going to
the
say
question
we're not
being
even.
is, like, are they bringing David? I don't know if they're bringing David Mamet involved because it's based off his play. It's his script from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Okay.
they getting someone to rewrite David Mamet? Because that's some balls, man.
Is it the same person?
I don't know. I haven't
Who's
heard
seen
much
it?
of this thing.
Well, no,
Tom,
what script is saying? I haven't seen this movie since like fucking 30 years ago.
Well, as far as I know, an officer and a gentleman is a descriptor for an individual. He's both an officer.
All I
and a
remember from
gentleman.
Officer and the Gentleman is him and Louis Gossett Jr. yelling at each other, and he's like, "Why are you here? I got no place else to go." In the end, when he goes in and he picks her up out of the fucking factory and carries her out. That's all I really remember.
Thank you, AEV in chat.
No, I
Thank you,
remember
Ahab,
more.
in
I
chat.
remember more. He had there was actually an additional friend that he had, and
This is what
the
yeah.
friend was going out with a local woman, and that woman was kind of not serious about him, and then the friend kind of the woman wanted to be with the friend because he was going to be an officer, but once that guy gets kicked out of the course, she doesn't want to be with him anymore, and then he kind of, I don't want to spoil it for people, but something not so good happens to that friend, if you remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember now. Yeah. But this is my other question was going to be, are they going to turn the love interest into a dude?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever is annoying,
what
they'll
I
probably
said.
do. They're doing like a.
I know. I knew you guys were getting there. Yeah.
They're doing a study now, with a focus group, and they're trying to find out what the most annoying thing they could do with this movie is, and that's what they're going to do.
That's going to be
Race
the
swap
big
'em?
reveal. They're going to fall in love. Here, Mexican Iron Man's going to tell you what happened. Let's move on to the next super chat, the next topic. They're going to fall in love. And then at the end, in the lovemaking scene, he reaches down and he's like, oh my God, what is this that I have? It's a baseball bat and 2 balls.
That's the crying game.
Well, that's
I
going to
thought
be an
it was-
opposite.
They'll
It's
do
gonna
a
be an
hybrid.
opposite and a they, them.
Yeah, they'll hybrid crying game and.
No, I think the bigger question though is are they going to have somebody come in and rewrite Mammoth? I think script. That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Douglas D. Stewart did the original one, but he worked with Mamet to do that. if I'm not
That's kind of
mistaken.
where I'm coming from. If they have Miles Teller and say like a Denzel Washington come in and just do the original story, don't fuck with it. I don't have so much of a problem with that if you're just updating it a little bit, right? Like that's not such a big deal to me. But if you're
Yeah, it
going to
seems pointless then.
completely, in a way, yes.
Like
But to me,
Psycho.
it's-
It's like shot for shot Psycho. Like, what's the
Not
point?
shot for shot, I guess, but like you got to modernize a little bit, but you actually kind of just stick with the, because you could do that with like, here's my example. You can do The Odd Couple modernized. You don't have to change a line of dialogue for the most part, outside of maybe a few modernisms you'd have to switch. But I don't even think there's that much in the dialogue unless they refer to something that's of the time that you'd really have to mess with. Because that play has been able to be reworked in so many different ways. I think you could do something similar here without actually messing with Mamet's words and the structure and all that kind of business, but just set it in the modern day is my point. Like, I think you can do that.
They did the Odd Couple with Tom Lennon and Matthew Perry, and
That's
the only
true,
reason
yeah.
they did that is because the guy who produced the original series, whose name is escaping me at the moment, when he passed away, that show was canceled immediately.
But yeah, and they were actually using scripts from the old series that were written by probably the same person we're either thinking of or whatever, the guy who wrote the original play.
Well, no, they
Neil
were
Simon.
Neil Simon.
Neil Simon. They did a lot of original
Yeah.
stuff because I did watch that show.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I
a
know
lot.
they were doing some of the Neil Simon scripts and some of the other ones too, though, from back in the day. I thought, but maybe I'm wrong.
And I didn't recognize that because I've seen both.
Maybe
both
I'm
shows.
thinking of I'm thinking maybe the other reboot they did a while back then, probably because they did specifically use the same scripts. They just updated them. Maybe it was the black version I'm thinking of.
I was
Maybe.
willing to accept Jack Klugman and Tony Randall, but I think that's it. That was it for me. I couldn't do more Odd Couple.
Oh,
after
I've
that.
seen so many different versions of the Odd Couple price, man. Like, I've seen women do it. There's a women version out there. Like, in fact, that's the easier version to find for some reason. Because Script and I and Culture were looking for it for a while ago, and that's when we kept running into it.
A
And the only
woman
problem with
version
it is,
who?
yeah, what it is just it's a gender swapped version.
Yeah,
It's
Gary
it's
Marshall.
just-
That's the name I was trying to remember.
Gary
Yeah.
Marshall, yes, yeah, because they also use some of his scripts too.
Well, I mean, he was the producer of it, but yes, if you take a look, like go Google like The Odd Couple with Thomas Lennon and Matthew Perry, you take a look at Gary Marshall, you'll notice when he died and when that show ended, and they are incredibly close together because him being alive was the only reason they were making that show, and
Yeah.
it was doing okay in the ratings. I think it was like a 2 point something. But no, it's like they made Oscar. He was a radio host as opposed to a game journalist, so he was commenting on sports, but it was by radio podcasting in his apartment. And then Thomas Lennon was more woke in regards to his, like, he was neurotic and all those other things, but he was also way progressive,
Which
doing,
sucks.
yoga in the show and all that stuff. It was weird.
Because he used to be so fucking funny. But anyway,
Tom Lennon
Well,
is still really funny, but he was doing that because he didn't write the show. Like, that's the thing. If Tom Lennon wrote the show, I bet it would probably be like the funniest, 21st century comedy he'd ever see, because that guy goes far and he pushes stuff. Like, he has no reservations about hitting everybody. Like, if you watch some of the Reno 911 stuff that he's
Oh, yeah.
done, like, yeah, he's unapologetic. And also makes a lot of money fixing a lot of,
I was gonna say he's a ghostwriter, isn't he too? Yeah, script
ghostwriter, script doctor like myself, but way better
Yeah.
than me. Like, miles and miles and miles.
I have not met him, but let's just say I've broached close to his bubble.
Oh no,
So-
I've crossed paths with him and Robert Ben Garrett. Really, they are very not Hollywood people, yet they support a lot of Hollywood projects because they're paid to. So yeah.
Toga Free says Spaceballs 2 with Josh Gad. Ew. Yeah, we talked about this Tuesday, I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think anybody's really looking forward to this. I mean, Script Doctor and I probably could come up with some good ideas, and Paul Shadow and a few others, but I just don't trust Josh Gad. Because really, we don't need Spaceballs 2. We need Spaceballs 3, the search for Spaceballs 2. But let's be real.
Spaceballs 3, a new grift.
Yeah, there you go. But thank you for that, Toga Free. Yeah, if you want to hear more of our thoughts on that, go back to that show. But Six wasn't here on that episode. Did you want to speak out on Spaceballs 2 news?
I'm interested to see this. Love the first one. I don't know how they could. It's going to have to be everybody's kids, right?
We don't know exactly yet.
If Rick Moranis comes back, that would be amazeballs. But other than that,
I mean, I've speculated that Josh Gad signals there may be there's at least more of a possibility of a chance of him showing up for this than there was a Ghostbusters because of the connection with
Josh.
I can't either, but he's supposed to be in that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot with Rick.
Shrunk. Yep.
That hasn't come to fruition yet. So I'm wondering if that might be a sign that there's a possibility that this is something they're working on in the meantime. And maybe, just maybe, he can sweet talk Rick into being in it.
Yeah,
But
that would
is
be
it-
pretty cool.
Joe Johnston's directing Shrunk, apparently, but I mean,
Sorry, what'd you say, Six?
Oh, nothing.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, yeah. With that, we do have, I think, one or two more super chats here. Actually, a couple more. Darius says, most annoying thing, make him a Coast Guard and gay. Oh, God. Keep writing.
And black.
Oh, Lord. Well, it's Miles Teller, so at least we know it's Miles Teller. And Miles Teller's not a bad choice. Actually, to me, here's something. I can't stand Richard Gere.
nobody can.
Nobody really
Not even
can, but I
gerbils.
mean, not even gerbils are trying to get out. No.
Easy upgrade.
So yeah, easy upgrade on that part. So that's why I'm not that resistant to it. I'm like, okay. Now, if you like you said, Price, and I said at the same damn time, you throw Denzel Washington in the mix, now you got my attention, right? Because this is a little bit different scenario here. Because the first movie's good, but it's not a movie I've gone back to a million times. Because I ain't a big Richard Gere fan.
Right.
Like, I can only think of like one or two movies of his that I think are okay, and it's not because of him. Primal Fear is the only one that comes to mind off the top of my head, and that's just because Edward Norton
Gives a
gives
great
a
performance.
Yeah.
performance from fucking who knows where he pulled out of, because he was nobody at that point. But yeah,
You're gonna laugh at me. I know this is gonna sound so lame. Maybe Six is right about me, but I think that Richard Gere probably was good in Pretty Woman. I don't know why I think he was good in that movie. I don't even know if I like that movie,
the fact
but
that
I
you
think
even
he
think
was.
I was gonna say
Have
you
you
better
seen
not even
it?
just
He didn't have to do anything in that movie. It was all Julia Roberts.
He
What'd you
looks
say,
the
Six?
part. He looks the part, and Julia Roberts is really great in it. But he looks the part at least. I don't know.
Well, it's not like it was a stretch for him to act like a rich guy wearing a suit.
Right, I guess so. I guess
So-
so. But that casting works for me. And there was once a movie I think with Andy Garcia, something with their cops or something, like a dirty cop. I don't remember what that is. It Internal Affairs? Am I?
I think so,
Oh,
something like that.
that might have been
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I thought that he was surprisingly okay in that movie. That and maybe,
Surprisingly okay.
yeah.
He's
I mean,
okay at best or mediocre at best in most movies. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
I already
He-
feel dirty enough for ordering American Gigolo.
yeah,
I-
that's
actually,
supposed
I
to be
think
like
that's-
his.
That's the movie that women.
Why
watch
did you
the
spend
most
money
of.
on American Gigolo?
Because it's a new 4K, okay?
See, you have a problem now.
Yeah.
Dude, Tom
No.
has an
I don't have a
addiction
problem.
to fucking
You
porn.
guys have the problem that I have a problem. It's not like I'm shooting it up.
Dude, you
Is there-
purchased a
they
Richard
ain't
Gere
making me
movie
fatter.
that you barely have seen only because it's on 4K.
Is there a
Well-
4K support group yet?
I'm never gonna buy it again. Like,
What if they do a
8K?
special edition with behind the scenes?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's not
Is
a
it,
movie. No,
is it Shout Factory that's doing
no.
it?
As long as it's 4K. No, it's actually it's Criterion, I think, or Arrow.
What if it's a special edition that comes with a gigolo?
Do I look like I need a gigolo? I jiggle all over the place.
You guys should do that on A-rated B movies.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We need to come up back to that. I was thinking about Airplane or the other one that Script wanted to do, Towering Inferno next, but yeah.
Towering Inferno is a
or
good
not
one.
airplane, but airport.
Airport.
Because like,
Oh,
we
yeah,
had like
Airport. Well, it's the Erwin Allen stuff.
Yeah, all
he's the
his
one that makes
movies,
B
yeah.
movies. That some of them are premises are fantastic, and they're like, oh, this is still B level, but
you get a bunch of A-level stars in it, and that makes it a disaster film instead of a B movie.
yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, Robert Montoya says O'Keefe just announced sources in Disney are contacting him now on Signal.
Oh,
Interesting,
cool.
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Signal?
So just says Disney sources inside the company are now contacting us on our Signal lines.
That means that
It's
they're
their private
trying to Signal is like encrypted and you can be more anonymous or something like
Yeah.
that.
So kind of like what happened with Film Threat. So this is going to get interesting, kids.
Why would they contact him through an encrypted line?
Because they don't want Disney to know that they're getting a hold of them. So they're probably people that are
Yeah.
going to be they're going to tell them whistleblowers, basically. Yeah. So they'll be anonymous when they actually do this stuff. So there's people who actually want to speak out, like with Film Threat, but they don't want necessarily Disney knowing who they are because they're in fear for their jobs,
Right.
or to be blacklisted on other jobs.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
this is-
James O'Keefe decides to out them.
No. The thing is, he won't get their information without them being able to volunteer it. That's what the Signal line is
Right.
for.
Right,
So-
and they want to keep their identity secret so that O'Keefe doesn't out them.
No, so O'Keefe won't even know their identities through
Yeah.
Signal.
Right, but I get what Six is asking. Yes, basically. Yeah, they don't. This is a more safer way of talking to him without being on a fucking dating app and getting busted.
Right.
In public, exactly. Yes, more controlled environment, and you can actually speak freely more and actually about the things. Because that's the thing is this. We're going to get into this here, but let's just get into it because I know we got Mikey only for a limited time. I was going to do the rap video first, but fuck it, we're going to jump right into the O'Keefe stuff because. The beauty of this stuff is that O'Keefe actually, whoever edited it for him, or he told them to edit it, or however he did it, whoever did it great job with it because it splits it up into nice little segments, so we can actually kind of go through each segment here. I just got to get the video up.
I mean, also props to the ladies on the dates who are literally just they're asking him flat out like obvious questions, and the guy doesn't pick up on anything, and they're able to literally structure the date so that they can do this for the edit.
Well, that's his ego script, right? Like
It
that's
is,
him
100%.
thinking, yeah, that he's going to be able to get in this chick's pants just as long as he brags about his fucking job. So, all right, we're going to get into this now. Mikey, are you back here? Are you with us?
Fuck yeah, let's roll.
All right, this is it, kids. We're gonna, like I said, this is sectioned off nicely.
I
so
want to
we're
know
gonna
how
play a little
my
bit of this and-
Disney dollars are being put to use here in this.
Oh, Mikey, I think there's going to be some lawsuits after this.
Certainly, there have been times where there's no way we're hiring a white male.
Just kind of
Yeah.
unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male. They say
Like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking to promote at the moment.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's black." Like they wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting. And it kind of feels like we're, at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of
And
Okay, so that's section one here I wanted to get through first. So clearly, this guy is claiming that Disney is deliberately not hiring white men for specific roles in front of and behind the camera because they're too white. In fact, there's even somebody who was not even completely white who looked too white.
And notice that they just wanted that person in the meeting. They didn't
exactly
need anything.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's basically like,
Window
here,
dressing.
look at our token. And yes, we're good. We're diverse. We're with it with the young kids.
I don't know if any of the rest of you got this when he was saying that about how he doesn't appear the way they want him to. It's almost like it's not just enough to be black, but you have to like be black. You have to
Look
dress
black.
and act.
Well, yeah,
Like-
that's the inclusion element, is that you
Yeah.
have to show that you're. I mean, it's all about window. It's all about aesthetics. My big curiosity is, this is nothing compared to the things I've been looking at for the last 7 years. I've had corporate promotional videos that have said things as blatantly as this or more so, and nothing happens. The EEOC never seems to take any action on this. It just seems to get passed over. These are rampant constitutional violations of people's rights.
This will also be swept under the carpet.
Oh yeah, I'd be surprised if this moves the needle at all. It might cause
They'll
a stink
fire
for
this
about
guy.
10
This
minutes.
guy will disappear off the face of the earth.
You think so? Okay, I was going to ask that at the end of the video, but let's ask it now up front. Do you guys really think this guy's going to lose his job right off?
Fuck
Already
yeah.
lost his job. His LinkedIn
He's going to
profile
lose his
already
job, but
finished.
also maybe they'll sign
did
him on
already?
a piece of paper that he never speaks again, and they get rid of him and give him a check, and he loses
Okay,
his
yeah,
job.
if he has an NDA, if they have an NDA and they got rid of him, fine. Otherwise, I was going to say they'll keep him just so they can keep him close to the chest at this point so they can't have him running.
Well, his LinkedIn account that is referenced in this video no longer exists anymore. You can
Yeah,
actually Google the
he's
site
gone.
and click on the link and it says it's no longer there. He is gone. He's out.
He's gone.
Again,
Okay.
he is a reminder to everyone out there, just because you have a senior vice VP in your title at a company like Disney, it means nothing. You're
No.
low tier.
Well, he actually learns or brings that up later on, actually. But yeah, go ahead, Scripps. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a senior VP and team lead. So team lead, that's your giveaway that this is a BS position, because team lead means that you lead like 2 or 3 people. For television, for the 20th Century Studios division, so not the actual Disney stuff. He's been there 11 years, and he's that low on the totem pole. That speaks to a number of volumes. First one being is that you're not usually that low at Disney after 11 years. You usually go pretty high because there's a lot of turnover.
Right.
And then number 2 is it goes to what he was complaining about, which is other people with other assets that are not merit-based are getting jobs and promotions above him. So he is a disposable person. He's in-house counsel, which means that he's not
Okay.
he's not particularly useful. He's useful in the room to negotiate with managers and agents, and nothing really much more, because once he does his part of the negotiations, another team comes in and finalizes the deal, and he goes off to do the next one. And he's just the introductory dude, where it's just like, okay, so Disney wants to do your show over at 20th Century Studios. It's going to be $5 million an episode. That's our budget. The managers and agents come back with, well, this is what we want to use that budget for. And then he's just like, okay, well, higher ups tell me I can approve these all sets of things. And then these things here you have to change. These are the stipulations that we're looking for. If you can't come back to us with that, we're not going to do the show. They capitulate. He says, okay, he kicks it up to the next level. He goes on to the next show. That's it. It's so basic level stuff. I've dealt with guys like him before. And sadly, in this video, his mentality and his ego is the stuff that I have to pitch to every day. I get a pitch session with an executive. It's very stupid, very
Yikes.
narrow, arrogant. It's frustrating. Every single person who, like Jerry Tunnicliffe, Tom Conkle, even Bob Shea, all the people that Midnight's Edge has interviewed has had to deal with this type of guy for decades, because he's par for the course of Hollywood.
Sometimes we end up interviewing these type of guys, but anyway, that being said, or dealing with them in one way or another. Mikey, anything to say about this white practice, considering you're white?
No, I
on
wanna-
your,
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that, the good stuff's yet to come from what I saw. So keep rolling the tape.
I just figured as a fellow white man, you might want to chime in on that, considering.
Dude, you know what? I'll save my heat for later. But I got
all right, fair enough.
keep going.
That
Keep going.
is a lawyer talking. So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices? They use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like you know, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. You know, so it's like not like a legally actionable thing. So everybody knows what it means. They, you know, for writers and actors, we hear all the time, like, you know, looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are like.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Disney Tapes. My name is James O'Keefe, standing here in Burbank, California, outside Disney corporate headquarters. This is our first part in a series about blatant discrimination and woke policies at the Walt Disney Company. To say that the Disney Company has had a tumultuous 5 years, well, that would be an understatement. Major box office flops, a losing battle with the state of Florida, and a stock that is one of the worst performers on Wall Street. And as you'll probably conclude from this report, as well as recent shareholder rumblings, almost all of Disney's recent failings are as a result of Bob Iger and the cast of characters here at Disney that are trying to force woke DEI policies into every aspect of Disney's vast media empire. What used to be a highly profitable company by being the gold standard of family entertainment has taken a sharp downturn in the wake of all of its wokeness. Under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's downfall likely started with the insane hiring practices amongst its executives and creative teams. One of their top senior vice presidents claims that they not only discriminate against white men when recruiting and hiring middle management, they actually give bonuses for hiring and retaining employees that are specifically not white. According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against whites, white men in particular. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure or power grid. And you remember
So yeah, so basically, I mean,
road and
what more can we say other than we fucking knew it, right?
He does say it's the first in a series, so you clearly we're gonna.
Oh, there's
get
more to this. This is just just the beginning.
The one part that I tweeted out with
$45 per kit today
is the confirmation that it's not. They think they're doing it as a means to make more money, and that's the sad part about Disney.
Right.
They're not maniacal, saying, "Oh, we're doing this to destroy your stuff." No, they are neck deep in the Kool-Aid and drinking it around them and thinking, "No, if we do this, we're going to make more money because we're going after a broader audience." That's their mentality. That's their thinking.
Right. So that is the vision is they want to do diverse shit. The justification is that they're actually so delusional they think it's going to make money. And I have like breaking news. Brown and black folk in this country, guess what? We don't have most of the money. Shocking.
Oh, you said breaking news.
Brown and black folk don't have most of the money in this country. Breaking news.
Says Mexican Iron Man.
Wait, it's not all in Oprah and Tyler Perry's coffers?
Unbelievably, their total coffers is not even on the blip of the radar screen of the rest of the money all everywhere. And that's what I need. I need the white people of this country, whether they got $500 in the bank, 5,000, 500,000, or 5 million or 5 billion. I need white people to mobilize before this country goes to hell in a handbasket.
What about $5.34?
Well, you would have supposed to come in and buy their tickets for them.
Tom would have had $19.34, but he had to buy that DVD we just talked about.
I did. But anyway, what'd you say, 6? Which tickets?
Aren't we supposed to buy the POC's tickets for them?
Yes,
so it was that
for
movie that
Black
came out
Panther.
where, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
See, that's the kind of shit that white people do that doesn't help.
Helps Disney.
But they told us it does. Make up our minds. No. All right. So let's
Newsflash, giving brown and black folk free shit doesn't make a better economy. Hashtag check out inner cities. Hashtag.
Actually, you know,
what?
There is something to that because
with me?
No. I had a conversation. I just don't know if this person wants me to say their name or not. So I'll just say this. Well, there's somebody who does a lot of stuff for a lot of charity work and stuff like that.
Yep.
And the conversation led to the difference between getting them money as opposed to getting them like shoes and clothes and other things like that. And the individual said, look, the problem with that is when you start bringing in a bunch of products, it kills their economy. So what you want to do is inject the economy with money so then they can use that money to buy the supplies and things from, you know, the other places. And then when they start making money, then they buy the food and clothes and stuff like that from, or shoes and clothes from other places and stuff like that are there already, because otherwise it kills all those businesses that were there. And it made sense.
How about
to
you
me.
don't give people shit and you make them work for it? The guitar that Max
Well,
has,
that, yeah.
literally, my kid, he's 11. He literally saved up his allowance from doing chores for a year and a half and bought his first guitar. He now has 2.
Well, that was the point, Mike, is build the infrastructure and then let the people do the work for themselves, basically, is what it was. But anyhow, let's keep going with
So
this.
we have a diversity, equity, and inclusion
Yeah.
department who's very
Okay.
involved in like setting standards to make sure that our shows have diversity.
Do you think like Bob has a say in the diversity stuff when they're casting people? Like
100%.
to what
He gives the directive. I mean,
for each show? For each
not that specifically, but like, you know, hey, I want every show to have substantial.
Iger, even as a chief diversity officer, now up until recently, that was Latondra Newton, who played a
Yep.
big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
Is it like an all across thing, like all of HR, or there's like that one specific person that kind of like, because I forgot
Good
the
question.
lady's name. She's the head of the.
Oh, I know you're talking about the head of the diversity, yeah.
The African American lady. Yeah. So is that like kind of her deciding?
She
that?
oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's pretty broad, I would say. There are other people in HR who are also focused on that. I would say a relatively large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be there. And a lot of
just by happenstance?
I mean, like, just like if you say whatever, I don't know, whatever 10 or 15% of the population is gay, I would guess that 30 to 35% of our top writers are, you know, gay. And so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories.
How do I know this guy isn't gay?
And
He's on the date with a woman.
Well, I was gonna say he is kind of on a date with a woman, but
Yeah, we
He's actually
sound
on a
like,
date with
like
two different
great,
women.
but he sounds super beta bitch. But okay.
Oh, yeah.
well, it is in LA.
Yeah,
He's
he's
very
an LA
broken
man.
Yeah, he's a broken man. That state, that company has broken him to the point where he is essentially a woman inside of a man's body, but
Well,
doesn't want to transition.
The biggest thing is that he knows he's a lawyer, and he knows he was explicitly discriminated against in a promotion and job opportunity on the basis of his race, and he's not turning around and turning that into a lawsuit. He's just like taking it.
He'll actually
this
get
guy.
to that here.
He's not a good lawyer.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
obviously not.
I saw this earlier, so maybe I'm already jumping.
No,
ahead
no,
in
you're
line.
fine. We're almost halfway through the video now, but I didn't know if Six or Mike or anybody else had anything to say before we keep moving here.
I say he's a beta ass bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly disgruntled.
I
think
tend to
that's
agree with
gotta
Mikey.
be
I think that his
motivation.
sentiments are fair in this case.
What'd you say, CC?
No, well, exactly what Price is saying is that he's clearly a disgruntled employee. He's maybe not going about it in the way that's going to best serve his interests, but he's clearly frustrated that he's unable to advance in the company due to his skin color. Now, I might say that based on the video, he's not advancing in the company because he's not really worth advancing, but he has a point, right? That his skin color and sexual preferences are playing a role.
He is not disgruntled. He is a broken. He's what script is. He's a fucking broken, programmed beta ass bitch that's in the system and his checks clear every 2 fucking weeks. And he's just decided that he needs to be a good little Bob Iger mama's bitch boy and sit there and fucking take it while he catches his fucking checks for being a beta ass bitch and allowing this horse shit to go on around him. And he's just chosen to go, okay, when he doesn't get his fucking promotion. That's what this
Like I said, not worth promoting.
Yeah.
I can't really argue with Mikey on this one.
And then here's the part that I'm surprised you guys are kind of going over. A third of their writers are gay. Holy shit!
That's a lot.
How does that conversation go?
That's what we
How does that
call-
conversation go in the workplace? It's like, so who do you sleep with on the weekends? Yeah, I've always wondered about that when they talk about the percentage of people in their workforces, whether it's Disney or any other company. Is like, oh, part of our workforce and our executive team is LGBTQ plus. Like, Yeah, how did that come up in the course of the interview process?
Yes, that's what did, right?
Are
Didn't
a
he
third of them
say in the
actually gay, or are they just pretending to be gay?
Good question. What were you saying, Six?
didn't he say that they have a spreadsheet keeping track of people's races? I mean,
They
it's
have a
pretty easy. You could go on social media and look somebody up, and especially this month, find out if they're gay or not. So I don't think it would be very hard to track down who is gay and who isn't. If
they
you
have
wanted
their
to.
targets. Like that's the thing. Whether he's alluded to a spreadsheet that he's never seen because he's not in a position. Listen, he's not really in a position to see anything really. But he has alluded that they have their targets where they want X amount of percentage people to be this and X amount of percent people to be that. Oddly enough, a lot of corporations do have this. However, those targets are not necessarily on the immutable differences. It's more like qualifications and needs and skill sets. And well, I mean, it should be. But they're able to always circumvent that by saying, well, we've got so many of this person who's these qualifications, but they're all of this homogenized section. So we need to kind of spice that up a little bit, to use some of their code words, spice it up, think outside the box, go in a different direction, change things up, avoid the usual suspects, those types of phrases.
Yeah. The flowery language allows them in many cases to avoid the worst of legal scrutiny. The one thing that they can't do is explicitly state quotas on percentages and timelines. That's the one thing that's unambiguously illegal.
This is the kind of guy that, like Script said, he would have interacted with him. Script would know that he's the best guy for the job. Script knows that he's the best guy for the job. This guy have a good meeting with Script, and then this beta ass bitch comes back and tells Script, sorry, I don't have the balls to actually stand up for you because you're the best guy for the job, because that's just the environment we're in. Sorry, dude. And expect that. You know what I mean? That right, Script?
Yes, no, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, that's what I was getting after I'd fired my agent and manager in 2019 after them really botching a deal, and I was looking for new representation. All I would get is answers pretty much like that. We love you. We would love to represent you, but we already have our roster limit so far for this quarter. So come back to us next quarter. Maybe we'll have an opening for you. Guess what, guys? If anyone ever tells you there's a roster limit at any type of representative company, if you're trying to get into Hollywood, they're full of crap, because you can never have enough means of profit at your disposal when you're an agent or a manager. You can never have enough. I know managers that have like 15, 20 clients. That's like, yeah, it keeps them busy, but they still want more, especially if they're going to make money off of it. Agencies, even if you have one agent at say CAA, guess what? If you're repped by CAA and that one agent, every single other agent there is going to be repping you as well. It's just part of the trade-off that they do. They
also, a lot of times these agencies, they just keep people on the shelf. I had a situation that I had a client and we were signed with a legitimate Hollywood agency, like one of the big ones. And we were added to a roster, like an agent who was an expert in something, with a roster that was very impressive with really big names. But what happened is that he never did anything for us. He was always busy with his big names, and we weren't really so important. Only if somebody would have done like an incoming request would he have done something. He never made a call on our behalf to try to get any gigs.
Right. No, that's absolutely true, because it's not the whole landscape has changed dramatically, where up until the 80s, your agent would literally, didn't matter how big or small of a client you were, they would literally be calling everyone trying to get you work.
Right.
Because they wanted to have that consistency where they literally schedule out, oh, if I get all of my actors working and I can get them working consistently throughout the year, I've got a steady flow of income for that entire year. Once I get that locked, I start working on next year, and then the year after that, and the year after that. And it's just constant. And they will say anything to get you hired. I mean, I still to this day, I'm looking for an agent that would be like Whoopi Goldberg's in the 80s, where he'd have the balls to go up to Rob Reiner and say, I want Whoopi to play Buttercup in Princess Bride. And he's like, well, if Rob says, well, I don't know if she's the right part, he's like, is it because she's black? I want someone to be able to go that far and that committed to challenge a director to get me a job and make them in an uncomfortable position, because you want someone that believes in you that much. And it's really hard to find those types of people today.
Yeah, and this guy ain't one of them. All right, roll the tape, Tom. I gotta go.
Yeah, let's keep rolling, because I know you got to get rolling here.
And in an odd twist, you have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week. But now let's meet
Jewish.
Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney Senior Vice President of Business Affairs.
I do like business affairs, so like negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really
So I'm
cool.
not really like on the creative side. So it's a lot of it is like knowing like the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Like make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and the producers and the directors, and try to like get to a place where we can be able to deal with them, help the production to budget. And so much of my job is just the negotiating really, and then other people are doing kind of the drafting of the contracts. So
Oh wow. So yeah, what's the negotiating like?
I'm like sitting down trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want?
Oh wow.
I just gotta stop for a minute and say, how can this motherfucker not tell he's being honey dicked? Ain't no chick care this much about your fucking job.
Bro, you don't know. Okay, here's where you don't know this, Tom. You don't know this because I had an office, like I said, I had in my production accounting office in Hollywood and the West Side for a long time. First in Santa Monica, then we moved to Westwood. So we could deal with some traffic issues. But when you go on dates or you're around people that are, all they talk about is who they know, what they do, all of them go like this.
Must be an LA thing.
It's
They
a
never
fucking
talk
LA
about
thing.
themselves.
All of the dating is exactly like this. I know I saw some people earlier in live stream when I was riding around with Mom. I was listening to Valley and some other people covering this shit earlier. I know that this dating experience looks fucking weird and he looks like an idiot, but I am telling you, as someone who was in the dating market in Hollywood for many years, it is all like this all the fucking time in the dating scene.
Especially when you're doing the dating app stuff, because again, many people that have followed me on this channel on my own, they know that I used to date for a short time an accountant over at Warner Brothers, and I met her in the office. I didn't meet her on a date, but when we went on the first date, the one thing that she complimented me on is the fact that I asked her questions instead of just talking about myself. And that's why we ended up having a relationship while I was in there at that time. And then we became friends afterwards when, I had to go back to Canada and whatnot. But regardless of that, that is the case. He's doing exactly what a lot of other guys and frankly women in the Hollywood orbit do. They talk about everything that's not themselves because they're objectively very boring people. I mean, they are. They just are.
I mean, well, they're talking about themselves, but he's talking about his job.
It's
but
the
I
same
mean,
thing to them.
His
Their
job is all he is.
Their job
it's
is
his identity.
themselves. That's the point. Their job.
I get
is
it.
their-
I mean, I kind of am the same way, but
the people they
still.
know, the jobs they do, the work they do is their identity. They don't have any other identity besides that. It's exactly what Script said. That is how shallow these fucks are.
All right, well, let's keep going because I know you're unlimited time.
Strategize that. Everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show, things like that. All of the negotiations and deal making.
Yeah.
One, well, actually two of our brave undercover journalist and American swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. And aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination against white men, you'll see later on in this report, and it'll be quite entertaining, Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long have you been on dating out?
Not very long.
Have you been going out with
Not a lot. Not a lot.
anything worth?
You know what's funny? No.
Let's dig
I
right
believe
into
that.
Disney's blatant practices.
To the
of
ladies that she's
discrimination.
out on a date
If you're
on.
wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's like so front and center. It's like great because that's the focus, Like we have so many shows where we're casting and we're like, yeah, we're not even going to see, certain people for it because we need that particular role to.
Yeah.
To,
So is it intentional that they want they only look for diverse candidates for certain roles?
Yeah. I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society and a big move. But there's also a belief that we're going to make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people. And it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, and so diversity helps with that.
Diversity helps with financial incentive.
Yeah.
So is it do you think it's more so on that side, or using any good prices
I
gets
think
put to use,
Disney would
or
do it regardless. I think the Disney would
Okay.
do it regardless, but I think that there are like even conservative people who may not want to lean into it can easily make the argument that like we make more money when we appeal to a wider variety of people, and that means diversity.
yeah,
There's a real focus on every show. And I'm sure the movies too, though I don't deal with that side of it. So, just making sure that the writers' room has a real, diversity, not just, not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who may have certain disabilities where they wouldn't have been hired. Or
Mental
there's kind of there's a really broad look whenever we're doing that to make sure
Yeah.
that everybody gets.
yeah.
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's wrong." Like
They wanted the full.
they wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting.
And so this is like on the
This was on the
corporate side, like the business side.
Never understood that. Is it like, 'cause I know a lot of I have a lot of black friends who are not as dark as So do they
I don't think he's
care
talking about the skin
that,
color
or
here.
it's like the
Funny that.
ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed,
Mhm.
but you don't look black at all, which sometimes happens,
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell they're somebody's part black, but they're not like that black, so, okay, that was so it's crazy.
But apparently Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would Meghan Markle, who's pretty white,
Right? Yeah.
would she be considered?
She would still be, yeah.
diverse,
She
or
would, yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes,
And-
because she's a woman too. That's why.
Yes.
Double
No,
shiny.
it's because the monarchy
Intersectionality.
rejected her. The monarchy rejected her. That's
That
why.
too.
Right.
That too. You got a point.
So if you pretend to be in a wheelchair, can you get work?
Yes.
I'll give it a try when I go out there.
Theoretically, I can support you wholeheartedly on that script.
You're
We
muted.
can't
Mike.
hear you, Mike.
Am I Mexican enough to be on the show?
You
Yes.
have it says you're white on your fucking birth certificate, so no.
Oh,
Yeah, you
I'm
might be
kidding.
dressed a bit too
Kidding.
white. You got to dress
Yeah, you're
more
wearing
Mexican.
a lot of white today, but that does help you look darker. See, so it's a good contrast there. Is that good advice?
yep.
All right.
The white guy, even Michael, has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself.
So this is what
at
you were talking
Disney,
about,
saying,
Scribe,
quote,
I believe.
"As far as Disney is concerned, I am a white male."
Right now, I'm like a half step below a true department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department.
And good luck convincing anybody you're gay now, too.
And I'd like to oversee a board, whether that's at Disney or having to leave. So,
Okay.
I think that's what
Do you think that you'll
bisexual is
have
about.
opportunity at Disney?
You can still lean on that.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. And that's not who they're looking at promote at the moment.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So,
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Oh, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and haven't gotten.
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their?
One or two cases, I was told very explicitly that it did. Yeah.
explicitly how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
And so it's probably fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about messaging, because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male person. They say
like straight to you, or okay.
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
But
after getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires.
Yeah, this is not new at all. Bounties for diversity hires has been going on for a long time. Executive compensation for meeting diversity goals is this is the thing of watching this is just so bizarre to me, because in my world, my sheltered little world,
I was going to say, if anybody would have had something to say about it, probably would have been you.
Yeah, this is none of this is news to me, newsflash or otherwise. But at the same time, like I say, more exposure is better, because it's becoming more blatantly obvious to people. Even though, here's the thing, there's a phrase called moral hazard. I've talked about this before on several different other things, but when someone doesn't face consequences for their bad actions, they have absolutely no incentive not to continue to do them. And the problem is that you can watch the language being used by executives over the last 7 or 8 years, and how it's slowly become more and more blatant in public disclosures and public speeches and panel discussions and things, where they would use words like, "Oh, we look for people with varying backgrounds, and people who come from different life experiences," and that would slowly change over to more blunt things like, "Oh, we want people who fit into these specific demographics," because there was no consequence.
We want chicks with dicks, basically.
Yeah, it would basically, you had corporate America's Puxatawny Phil looking around waiting
Mike,
for a
you're
shadow to
muted
show
again.
up, and it never showed up. The EEOC is understaffed and underfunded. They don't do anything to enforce the laws that are on the books. And when they do, it slaps on the wrist to do nothing. None of this is news, except for people that just don't pay attention to corporate promotional stuff or something. So I hope this does move the needle in some way to somebody. The fact that people are calling in as whistleblowers is good. This guy that they're interviewing, his best bet after this, his career is going to be as a lawyer representing people suing companies for DEI civil rights violations. Because his only angle is to try to turn this into a career for himself. So he
does definitely know the inner workings of Disney to kind of give him a.
Well, it might be conflict of interest for him to go against Disney, but he could show that he knows the internal corporate mechanisms that DEI works around, and he could represent.
Well, it sounds like he might even have a case himself.
You know what annoys me? You know what annoys me, and I'm sorry, and I kind of it's enhancing what Mikey said, is that how is this guy a senior vice president at Disney? This guy looks like the Forrest Gump of senior vice president.
But he's at the TV development. He's at the TV development stage. Literally the early stage of TV development.
That's still no excuse for him to seem like such an idiot.
No,
he's
that's
probably tame compared to
some
some of the idiots and assholes that are above him, dude.
No, actually, I got a split. Unfortunately, I got my own show in about 15 minutes.
No problem, Scribe. And Six. Also, I want to thank Six for popping in here tonight. I know she got tired and she dipped out on us. So Thank you, Six, for being here. And thank you, Scribe, if there's anything you want to plug on your way out.
Yeah, real quick, actually, by sheer coincidence, didn't plan this, but my TED Excellence tonight actually deals with DEI, and specifically a guy saying that he knows what's wrong with it and how to fix it. And I can't wait to hear how he's going to repair DEI. But anyway, that's coming up 15 minutes, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on my channel. Guys, thanks so much for having me on. Enjoy the rest of the evening, everybody. And everybody have a good rest of your night and Friday. Bye, guys.
Take care. We're actually down the last few minutes of this video here. Mike, was there anything else you had to add to this part before we move on? Because I know you're running short on time, too.
All good. I got another 5-10. Let her rip.
All right, let's get her done.
We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation, and we will try to get you representation to get your rights back. I've had it with all my personal and private information.
Okay, so I think there's another ad. Okay, here we go.
I'm sure this guy knows how to bend over to answer Price's question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What? Sorry, what'd you say?
I'm saying, unfortunately, when it comes to, he's par for the course. In fact, later on, you can go back and just pause when you see his Hinge profile, and it's all like, drinking protein shakes and how he loves 80s movies. That's everyone in his group at.
I'm sorry, somebody with a cat and no dog is sus as fuck to me. A man, anyway.
Exactly.
Kind of spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so here's where he talks about the spreadsheet.
OMG. I mean, HR keeps a huge spreadsheet. Yeah.
What kind of spreadsheet?
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it exactly, but I mean, literally, like, they have stats. 17% of our executives at this level identify as XYZ. 40% of our executives at this level identify as, Dude, they have goals that they're trying to hit. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage of diversity there.
But are these these are open goals? Because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms. So are they open goals?
They are open goals at a senior enough level.
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue, and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. So it's not like a legally actionable thing, but everybody knows what it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. Hi, guys, do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
They, the writers and actors will hear all the time, like, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity.
I don't know if there's really much more than this that we already haven't seen.
More clients who are so there's definitely that focus.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere? But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders, you might ask? Well, over the past 5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%, and Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over
So
talent.
basically, what he says from here on out is that there's more to come. So yeah, I just want to get Mikey in here before I know you have to run. So yeah, what's your thoughts on all this, brother? This is a big bomb. I know a lot of this is stuff that we already knew, but it's great to have
It is
the confirmations.
if action is taken, if coverage happens, action is taken. That's the real issue. Is that we've got to create an environment and a climate where this kind of crap is unacceptable, and we stop getting pushed around. I mean, it's not we. I'm self-employed. I don't even know what. I cannot even imagine what it's like to be at a corporation and have to kiss ass on a daily basis. So, but until people rise up from investors and the pressure needs to be put on directors with this crap, and white people got to start filing lawsuits. You know, I mean, if turning the other cheek and looking the other direction as a white person, if you think that your good heart is going to carry the day in the end, it's not. You're just going to have less money in your pocket. More people are going to push you around. And people that are going to use their brown or black skin are going to be lazy, and they're going to use their brown and black skin to guilt your fellow white people into getting shit that they don't deserve.
Well, and honestly, the first thing this guy should do is go tell his buddy, if he really is his buddy, that he was the guy that he was talking about in this video that got passed up because he wasn't black enough. Because that's the guy who's probably got the first lawsuit in line, because that's the beauty of it.
There's such a culture of fear amongst these beta ass bitch types that you know, that's why they don't take action. We can't count on them to fight their own war. That's for
No, but I hope you're right, and I'm glad to see that there's people reaching out already to these guys behind the scenes to tell their sides of the story and tell their stories to Disney, because I think that this is just the beginning. I'm curious how deep this will go into other avenues and other things they may have learned from other people that they catfished or whatever you want to call it into doing this. And
hey, those girls were great. I got to tell you, the girls get the freaking good job with the girls. They did a good job.
And I know that they were talking a little bit about the law stuff earlier, because I think VR and a few others were talking about it and stuff. And basically, the sad part about it for some of these folks is that this stuff will not be admissible in court. Correct? From my understanding, Script and
it's mixed
Mike, because of the California law and shit.
Well, California is a dual party consent. There are certain extenuating circumstances when you're in public places. However, arguments can be made, well, you're on a date. Dates are supposed to be intimate and private, and the conversation that happens to them are intended to be between two people only. Yes, there's a possibility people could overhear you, but it's them as third parties can overhear you, and that's not a problem. They could be recording, and that's not a problem. But one of the two active parties in there, that might be subject to scrutiny. I don't 100% know how the law is going to view that if that ends up being an angle taken. But I will
Beauty
say
is you got people reaching out now, so it doesn't matter. But go ahead, Script.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you have people reaching out. It doesn't really matter. For him, his LinkedIn profile's done. It doesn't exist anymore. He's most likely no longer working at Disney at this time. I speculated that if he was smart, he probably would have told Disney immediately after he encountered James O'Keefe that he's got a hit piece out on him and it could damage the company, and we should, be prepared to counterbalance that. But I suspect because his LinkedIn profile is gone, he didn't tell them. He just sat on it as a coward, and he lost his job. Unfortunately, he has no recourse to sue them for wrongful termination or anything of that nature, because he technically violated his privilege with the company. He spoke about their practices, and as a lawyer within their in-house legal team,
he should know better.
Yeah, he violated that confidentiality there. It doesn't matter that it's fairly public knowledge, or at least accessibly easily to researchable knowledge. A reasonable person who doesn't pay attention to Disney overall would not know any of this stuff or not pick up on it. So
well, and this goes to almost any business. Like when you work for almost anywhere, you talk about trade secrets or things, non-disparagement, all types of stuff is in that you sign. And that's kind of where they get around firing you for a lot of this bullshit anymore with the woke crap. But yeah, what Script is talking about there is basically, this isn't just something that's in Hollywood. This goes for the same thing if you work at Taco Bell.
No, it really does. I mean, the one thing I will say is, again, these people are very easy marks because they don't realize, they don't pay attention to who they're talking to across the table. Like, that's the brilliance aspect. Like, if I was across the table and I kept seeing this girl's arm or hand move in weird patterns, it's like, I'm going to be paying attention to the jewelry because she's probably got a lot of bracelets and one of them's hiding a camera. And how she points it unnaturally would be a big red flag and it'd tell me, oh, she's recording this. But the thing is, when you listen to this guy speak, he's not talking about himself. He's not asking questions. He is treating this like any other type of meeting that he would do at work, where he's giving you the bullet points of what is being done, what he does, how it relates to his day-to-day workings. There's nothing flirtatious or intimate or engaging about his conversation.
He's the worst date ever, and he's an idiot.
Well, that's kind of where I was coming from.
That's a lot of Hollywood. That's a lot of the lunch meetings that you get out there. It's terrible.
And he's not a bad looking guy, but you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of this fact that despite my age and my bad looks, I did phenomenally fucking well in that market because most guys are beta ass bitches and don't know how to take a girl out. And he clearly didn't know how to take a girl out.
He looks like the guy from American Pie.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way. If you're a white guy on a date, don't go to a place that uses chopsticks as cutlery because it makes you look pretentious.
Jason
really
Biggs
does.
actually is more manly though than this guy, dude.
Wow,
but anyway,
that's true,
Mike
though.
has to
I
leave
gotta
us.
run. Good having
I
me.
love you, brother. Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
Later,
Love you,
Mike.
Tom. Thanks for this show put me in a great mood. I had a rough day today, and thanks for having me, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Love you all on the panel. Love you all in the chat, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the few times you'll be happy to see Disney stock go down a little bit tomorrow.
And again, I'll point this out. So I paused on his dating profile on Hinge, and he is basically got the most boring thing, which is morning workouts, protein smoothies, irreverent humor. Oh, yeah, that's great. Beach vibes, 80s media, and Italian food. He is bland and boring.
He fell for the oldest trick in the book.
Honestly, that website should be called Unhinged because, I mean, let's
Most
face it.
dating websites, yeah.
Yeah, like most women you can meet on there are probably going to be nuts.
But you know what my takeaway from this is? Not only, we already knew all of this anyways, but not only the hiring practices, but also what I've already, we've all known this, is that even these diversity people are being manipulated. Meaning on one hand, they want all the diversity hires, but on the other hand, he doesn't look black enough. We need him to look black, so when he sits next to me, those kind of things show just the insincerity, how disingenuous it is, and how it's like all the shows we see, like everything we see from Disney, it's all done for the wrong reasons in the most phony and crappy way that at the end, in my opinion, doesn't even help people of diversity.
Yeah,
it's a circus act for them.
Yes. And again, I'm sorry that I don't give more. I'm not like that guy in that coffee shop, but I have actually worked with people in Hollywood that are in the.
We got a super chat for you, Mike. Sorry, Price.
No worries.
Yeah, do you like Smurfs?
What?
Do you like Smurfs?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hold on.
He can't hear me. Sorry, Price. You finish your thought.
It's okay. So I'm saying that I've also seen situations that I've worked with people that are in the diversity and inclusion category, and I've worked even dealt with studios or production companies and things like that. And I've seen situations where when it suited them, when it was the right photo op or some kind of narrative, that specific diversity was relevant to them. They were okay to play ball with it, but there could be other times where that's not the diversity they're looking for that moment, and that really enhances what script says with the circus act feeling.
Well, now he's not answering, little shit. All right, I'll get back to you on this one.
I'm kind of digging this listening to the phone ring here. You're trying.
I know. Here he comes. Okay, hold on. Hey, can you hear me?
What's the urgent? What happened?
Do you like Smurfs?
Fuck no.
Okay, there you go. F13. It was a super chat. Love you. Bye.
I'm kind of neutral on them, but it's not like Alf. Alf, I hate Smurfs are annoying.
Okay. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Love you. Bye.
Yeah.
So he's kind of neutral on Smurfs. Hopefully you guys heard him in the chat.
He's Smurf about Smurfs.
He's Smurf about it. Connor Dorian's here and says Yellowstone is returning in November. I've heard that. Will be interesting to see how they work with this, and I'll be ready for the possible lawsuits that'll come out of this. But yeah, I don't know if you've heard anything, Script, but a lot of my let's just say that my person who was feeding me Paramount info went completely silent once the sales stuff started happening. So yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know if you've heard anything about this next half of the season of Yellowstone or not, how they're going to handle
How they're
it
going to
being
handle
Kevin Costner-less.
They're gonna do good times.
That has not been disclosed to me yet, but I assume, again, because this is the tail end of season 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, second half, yeah.
So I mean, it's already shot. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what's been done. All I know is that he did show up for some days to shoot, and then he went back to his.
Was that for this though, or was it for the other thing?
For the other thing.
Well,
that's
no,
what I was gonna say. I don't think him and Sheridan have spoken since the last half of last season.
Well, Sheridan only directs, I think, 2 of the episodes for the.
That being said, my point is, I don't think he's been back to the Yellowstone set since. That's my
You'll
point.
never
I don't
see
think
him
he
on
came
Yellowstone
back. I could
again.
be wrong.
I don't think you'll ever see him
That's
there
what
again.
Price. I think what Price is saying is correct, because even Kevin hinted that there's going to be lawsuits to come, and I think he's going to be ready and waiting to see what they do to his character because they have that clause in his contract.
They're gonna go good times. They're gonna sit there and there'll be a phone call and they'll be like, "Oh, are you sure he's really dead?" And then they'll hang up the phone and they'll say, "I can't believe it. He just died." And then that'll
No,
be
he's
it.
going to be elected president, and they're just going to be like he's.
Here's what bothers me about this is Kevin's movie is going to be out here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And in November is when this show is premiering. So what the hell was the problem?
It was the shooting schedule, really. Like that was
exactly.
it.
Well, and I'm still not seeing the overlap here.
Well,
like,
neither am I. I think it was.
Yeah, you get where I'm coming from. I'm like, wait a minute here. Like, and this is not like a fucking Marvel show. like, to where he had to shoot it a fucking year ago. We know they just finished shooting this. Like you know, what the hell? Like something happened. So yeah, I think this is not the end of this. Something's gonna. Kitty, god damn it! It's knocking shit over. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think this is over yet. I think this is gonna be interesting. But we got a few more super chats here. Another one from Sabretooth Raptor. So Spaceballs 2 is past its time. I agree. Should have been made within 3 to 5 years after the first one. Not a Maverick scenario. You can't replace cast. Actually, I would argue you don't make a sequel to it. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Like it almost, because Spaceballs itself, they joke about the sequel. So if you do it, it kind of takes away the point of the joke.
Also, how can you live up to the potential of that joke now?
Well, that's just it. Yeah. And that's where I said you don't do Spaceballs 2.
No.
You do Spaceballs 3, the search for Spaceballs 2. Actually, just don't do it. But no, like I agree because they did that. Kitty, I am about to. He just doesn't get the hint that I don't want him up here knocking shit over. Anyway, the best that we're gonna probably get was that animated series, and that fucking sucked.
It was very
that
bad.
had one good episode. And I think you can find it on YouTube. It's the very first episode. And the only reason it's funny is because it's a parody of episode 1 with Dark Helmet as a kid. And it's only half-ass funny. Like, just the concept of it's kind of funny, but the whole thing kind of fell flat. If anybody's seen it, I'm pretty sure the whole thing's on YouTube. It was actually on G4 is where it premiered. That's why most people didn't see it to begin with. Sadly, but or actually fortunately for them, probably. But no, as far as the cast, no, you can't. And that's the other problem is half the cast is gone. Especially ones you can't really replace anyway, or that would probably be important enough to have around. And the other ones are so old that it would almost have to be like a parody of the sequel trilogy, but
yeah, like Bill Pullman's still around. What's her name still around?
Daphne, yeah. I don't know what she looks like anymore, but
it doesn't matter.
I know, yeah.
Rick Moranis is still around.
Yeah,
I mean,
but will you
there's
get
a
him?
great joke with Barf. It's like he's half man, half dog. He's his own best friend, but like he ages in dog years. That's why he's not around anymore. He's
well, and that's the only okay. If they actually get all of those people back, including Rick Moranis, because that's the one thing that I was bringing up earlier is like maybe, just maybe, there's a reason why Josh Gad is working on it, and it's because of the Rick Moranis connection, right?
Right.
And if that's the case, then he's not playing Dark Helmet's kid and he's playing Barf's kid. I still don't know if people are going to like that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at here. Michael Winslow's still alive. George Weiner's still alive. He's Colonel Sanders. Daphne.
Oh, he is still alive. I thought he passed away.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Nope. He's actually in a More Perfect Union coming up pretty soon.
Okay, because he did. Yeah, I know he did the voice for the cartoon. That's the thing. Everybody came back to do the voice for the cartoon except for I think Bill Pullman and obviously John Candy.
Yeah,
but they had that one guy who always does like the John Candy type characters on cartoons do the voice, so it was almost like it was perfect. Can't remember the voice actor's name, but yeah.
Even Leslie Beavis is still alive.
Who did she play? Who's that?
She played the one that Snotty beamed her last night, and it was wonderful.
Oh Jesus, yeah. But now well, Michael Winslow, okay, but some of the other ones, I mean, once you get past the main
Joanne
cast,
Rivers, Dick Van Patten, and John Candy are the only three. John Hurt too, but John Hurt was just a joke at the end.
Yeah. So I guess in a way, and that's my problem is I'm also looking at Rick Moranis is on the fence with this. That's the thing. He's the one that can tip it. Like if you say you got Rick Moranis, it's like, okay, now you got my attention because there's a possibility there. But what are you doing with it? Because I can't believe that fucking Mel Brooks or even Josh Gad gives enough shit about Star Wars that's going to be the same. Because we were just talking about this. I don't know if you were part of the conversation or not, Script. I think you were on one of them because I talked about it a couple of different places, but how, yeah, you were. Because, like Gene was a big part of his earlier films and he had other people he was working up, through certain films. But once he's kind of on his own and didn't have the right people working with him, that's when we got crap like Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Yeah, when Thomas Meehan and Ronnie Graham and Gene Wilder kind of started doing their own things. Yeah, because Mel Brooks is the producer. He's the guy that knows how to operate with the team, not so much with,
But his great writing is done in the producer, ironically enough, because that's the only thing he has that is kind of his own.
Well, yeah, he was working on that for 15 years.
Exactly, yeah. Even Blazing Saddles, he'll sit there and say he had tons and tons of help with. And of course, we all know Young Frankenstein is all Gene Wilder, and he won't even argue that point. He says that
Gene Wilder's agent called him and says, "I need a movie with you and the other two guys I represent." And Gene's like, "Okay, I'll call you."
Yeah. Well, and Marty Feldman was just perfect for that. Now, I can't remember the series of events because in the documentary they have it, but it's kind of confusing, or maybe the way I watched it was confusing because I did watch it in like 3 segments. Because he talks like he saw Marty Feldman on a show. And then he was getting the idea for Young Frankenstein, and then his and you're right. Then his agent said, "Well, do you think you could work with Marty Feldman?" And I can't remember who else it was.
Peter
he mentioned.
Boyle.
Peter Boyle, that's
Marty
right.
Feldman, Peter Boyle, and him. And he's like, "Why? Because I represent you three.
Because I represent all of you." Yeah, that's what it was. And I can't remember if he actually had seen Marty Feldman beforehand or after, because then the way Gene tells it again in another clip they have, it's like he goes, "So I watched the performance of Marty Feldman. I'm like, who is this guy?" And it's like he is Igor. Right, like with the eyes and the whole thing. It's like, so he's like, I got to use this guy. It is like, so I don't know. The way it was told, it almost sounds like he knew of Marty Feldman before. It just so happened that he happened to represent him. But then the other story sounds like it was because he told him about Marty Feldman that he saw the show he was on, and that's why he was like, oh, he's perfect. But so either way, it doesn't matter. You're right on that. We got into fucking trenches. Spaceballs 2. It's going to be a lot to do. I think it's going to be one of those things that can never live up to the hype. It's never going to, unless you actually get Rick Moranis. And I don't know if Josh Gad is that creative writing wise. I've never seen it. What has he worked on?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
That's my point. Yeah.
Like he's a producer. He's a character actor. He does a lot of theater stuff. He can sing, but
that's what I mean. Like in the right parts, like I could see him playing in maybe, but
like he's written episodes for television. I mean, he's been a staff writer for a few years, and he's been on Central Park, 1600 Penn, which was not a single season, didn't get done.
Honestly, he should forget about all this other shit, and he should be begging Joe Dante to put him in his Little Shop of Horrors reboot quel. Whatever the fuck it's supposed to be.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he's like the perfect Seymour that I can think of now.
Like
that could actually
the
sing.
Voice of Muncher in Ghostbusters Afterlife, apparently. Like,
that doesn't surprise me. Wasn't him and Oh no, I was thinking of something else. Never
Okay.
mind. Yeah.
He was in one of the worst science fiction shows ever. That's not Discovery, called Avenue 5. It's a terrible
Never
show.
heard of it.
It's really, really bad, frustratingly bad.
Yeah, as people are bringing up in the chat, I know how he got famous. He first got famous because of Book of Mormon, then the Frozen, and then Beauty and the Beast, and that's how he kind of launched himself into where he's at. And I'm not saying he's not talented, and I don't hate him like I do like Patton Oswalt and shit. It's just all the shit he's been in I don't like. Like, that's the problem. And like I would love to have seen a movie version of Book of Mormon where there probably was a point where he probably would have been the star of that. But Trey and Matt are so resistant to doing it, and I don't know why, even though they're doing another movie now, even though they basically lied. Because they did say after Team America they would never, ever, 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 ever make a movie while South Park was still going again. But they did, evidently, in secret, and it's coming to Paramount at some point.
Oh, he also played Steve Wozniak in the Jobs movie in 2013. So
okay.
That's one of the things.
I mean, he's not a bad actor, and he can sing. That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't annoy the piss out of me like Patton Oswalt does, but
he's not funny though. That's the problem. He's funny looking, but he's not funny. There's a big difference.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen him in anything I like yet. So he must have. Here's my point, Script, and this is where I'm coming from. Trey Parker must have seen something in him that was funny, and I've never seen Book of Mormon. I just know of it. I know things about it. It's never come close to me where I've even had a chance to see it when it did go out on tour. And obviously I don't live anywhere near fucking Broadway, and I bitch about driving an hour to the theater. But if he saw something in him, then that tells me that with the right person behind him, he probably is funny. But when you put him in shit like fucking Beauty and the Beast, and you make him play like the gay fucking what's his face character, like literally gay, like anyway, we talked about this way too long, and thank you, Sabretooth Raptor. We did get this question in. Thank you for that. Robert Montoya has one for Scripts. He says, correct me, please. For $9.99, I think I could see many of the pre-Jodie Doctors crossover into Star Trek world, fourth with Kirk, Smith or Tennant helping Picard with Q. Something tells me I'm wrong. Other than rights, I don't see why you could be necessarily wrong per se.
Well, the fourth Doctor would be Tom Baker. He came in the mid to late 70s, so he would cross over with the theatrical stuff. The first Doctor would be for the 60s because he was 63 to 69, I think. So that would work with.
If that's what he means, yeah.
Yeah, and then Tennant helping Picard and Q. No, I mean, again, not next. They're not next generation. It would be the seventh Doctor would be for, and yeah, the fifth, sixth, and seventh Doctors would be next generation crossovers. For that, if you want to keep it in sync, yeah.
My whole thing would be it doesn't really matter because between Q and the fact that the Doctor goes through time, I think you could just pretty much put whatever you wanted together. They kind of work.
I mean, well, yeah, a Doctor and a TARDIS, he can show up in any form.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't even have to worry about the pre-Jodie stuff. But yeah, if you're talking like, if you do want to do it in like production wise, scheduling stuff for BBC, that would be the better synced things right now.
Yeah, I see what you guys are saying, but that was my argument from the start was like, yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want because both of those I think would work. You could have that happen in
I'm sure
Star
there's
Trek
crossovers in the comics. Unfortunately, like I'm not the guy to know that. So
yeah. And sadly, Klobby is not here to correct us on that. That would be one for him. Robert Montoya says, FYI, Missouri's AG just filed a lawsuit against IBM. I think he brought that up in the video. Yep, another company O'Keefe exposed for DEI. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily DEI. It's the unethical practices used within DEI. That's one thing. DEI is not illegal.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Script, because I think it needs to be we need to remember that the whole point of what these things that are being in place and manipulated now were for in the first place didn't have bad intentions, right? Before it was so you couldn't discriminate. So they couldn't ask you on your fucking job application, are you white? Are you gay? Are you married? Are you this? Are you that? Because that is not information that should matter when it comes to the job. That's discriminatory. So those kind of laws are fine. But when now you're manipulating and mutating those laws to keep a certain group out, that's where the problem comes in. And
Yeah,
that's
the
where the law is
program-
being broken.
The program itself was designed to, okay, well, if we put this in there, it means that we are holding ourselves to not discriminate against anyone if they are qualified to work at this job. And then they're like, then they're saying, well, it's leaning towards this one homogenized demographic, so we have to tilt the scales to not make it appear like we're discriminating on that. So in order to not appear to be discriminating, you have to hire people that don't fit into that, which means you have to sacrifice the merit of what is being brought forth.
And that's the slope.
Because you're not getting the numbers you need. Because here's the funny part too, is that you could do something flat out based on merit and still hit DEI diversity. But the thing is, it's not going to be at the numbers that certain entities want it to be at, because those numbers don't necessarily always all want to be in the Hollywood space.
Because you can't put an arbitrary number on that kind of thing. That's the problem. Is you can art and commerce meet at a point, but you can't do what we're talking about. Like, you can't quantify that, right? You can't say we're going to get the best person for the job if you're saying, well, we need to have 5% of this writer's room be black, another 5% of it be gay. I don't care if they're gay and black, and another 5% be trans, another 5% be lesbian, another 5% be women. I don't give a shit what color they are. You know, like, that's the thing, is that's what they're doing now. And it's like, quotas are not going to get you what you're trying to get.
And the percentages for each of those things are smaller than the other percentages of other of those things. If there is 70% white people in the United States and you only want 5% of them and 5% of black people, guess what? Your pool to find that 5% of black people is significantly smaller than the one of the 5% of white people. So it's not going to work out to the metric you want. And that's horrible. I mean, that's why it's not a good ideology to
and that's why I keyed in on the gay thing, where he's like, a third of our writers are gay, which is fine if they're creative. And this is where I've joked before. Look, gay has always been a part of Hollywood. 99% of the shit that you've ever seen has been made by gay people. Congratulations. You're progressive without even knowing it.
Yes. Actually, 100% of the Hollywood stuff, at least one gay person was involved in that creation.
Well, yeah, in that respect, yes. But I mean, I'm talking about more people than you probably fucking realize.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not just talking about the costume department either.
Not just talking about costume, hair, and makeup. You're talking about set decoration or
I'm talking about across the fucking board.
Producers or who knows. Yes.
Because before that, guess what? Most people didn't give a shit. They just went there because guess what? It wasn't because of the work part of it. Yes, some of it was because they were more creative and they were actors or singers or what have you, or they could do things, you know, like costuming and all those things that we just mentioned. But guess what else it was different about that? At that time, there was a movement that people that were gay, lesbian, what have you, were accepted more publicly in that area. It wasn't because Hollywood was the ticket to their success or whatever. It was just because they knew they could move out there. People there would be more. It's the same reason why a lot of them moved to Vermont.
They didn't care.
It's just because people didn't care. Right? Like, that's why it had nothing to do with anything other than that. Sure, a good percentage of people that are in entertainment happen to be flamboyantly gay. Yes. But a lot of the people that are gay and lesbian, guess what? Newsflash, and I know most of you people in the audience are aware of this and on the panel, don't wear it like it's a fucking necktie. Right? Like, you'd be surprised to find out, oh, you're fucking gay? I didn't know that. Shit. Well, I guess so much for having you date my sister.
You know? Exactly. Actually, you know what? Still date my sister. I don't want her.
Yeah, in fact, won't you date my sister, please? I want you to date her because you're gay. No, just anyway, yeah. So you get where I'm coming from. It's just so silly and stupid. And that's just one element of this, right? Like the race thing is another element. And the problem there is you have so many people on both sides of the equations trying to use and manipulate this for their own to get ahead. And this ties right in with the film threat shit, where I wouldn't even have so much of a problem with this. If, like, okay, I would love to believe that there's more women that say want to get into animation, like the women in animation thing that Film Threat had in their thing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that program was it wasn't getting women more education on animation. It wasn't doing any of that or getting them like hooked up with people to where they could apply for these jobs and whatnot. No, all they were doing was teaching them how to spot problems and get rid of white men.
And replace them with their prestige and accolades and all the money that they didn't earn.
Exactly. And to me, that's the problem. Like, I have no problem with programs that are like going to get inner city kids or more women trying to get in to work into, you know, the key grips and camera departments and other areas where women don't naturally work in, because maybe there are a few that are interested in it. But like Script and I are saying, and the thing that keeps getting hit on the head is the percentage is so fucking small compared to the percentage that these people are trying to push into it. And that takes me right back to the third of their writers are gay, because that's the same thing we saw with fucking Netflix when they're like, well, we have, what was it, 10% of our produced entertainment has gay content in it.
Mhm.
And then the person who was in charge of that shit, which was their, I can't remember who it was, but it was basically their DEI director or whatever.
Director of DEI
Officer, thank you, officer. That's the word I was looking for. And saying, nah, but we got to do another 10%. That's not good enough. It's like, well, you're already overdoing it. Right? 10%. Because you're only looking at what, 5% of the population, maybe at best? Maybe a little
between 5 and 10. I think it's around 7.
Yeah, so you're already representing enough of that population. Now you're going to overrepresent it. You're just going to bro yourself, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that it's the whole idea should be, oh, if someone who is of this persuasion of something is interested and talented, don't turn them away. That's the simple rule. Don't turn them away. But now you, as you said, there's a whole wave of people that saw this thing as an opportunity to give themselves ahead and hurt everything. And as I've said on this channel, I've said on other channels, when you take a look at when the trades are reporting that certain writers or certain people of those diversity check boxes are complaining that they're not getting work, I remind you, step back and take a look at the successful shows. Is Taylor Sheridan complaining? Are the guys who made Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul complaining? Is Noah Hawley complaining that work's not coming out right? No, if they're not, then there's nothing wrong. The industry is correcting itself, and the only company that's fighting back is Disney. And that's where you have to realize, like, oh,
and they're the biggest hypocrites.
Of course they are. They've always been the biggest hypocrites. I mean, again, it's the easiest lesson to learn. Any company,
but they don't even mean it. That's what I'm trying to say. That like they are the biggest phonies. That's what annoys me time and time again with this company.
Disney always has, and Script's right. Even in probably even going back as far as Disney himself, because I got to imagine at one point they're making entertainment for children while most of their plastic shit is being made in a factory by children.
Yeah, I mean, Disney was smart in the sense they knew, okay, adults have the money, children don't have money, but if we get children to complain to their parents enough, they will buy their kids something. And remember, any type of company, it doesn't matter if it's left or right, that promotes family values and targeting children is evil, because you don't need to be a company that does that forthright if you truly believe in it.
That's why I always like the Looney Tunes.
That's why my parents encouraged me to watch the Warner Brothers cartoons, the Merry Melodies, the Looney Tunes, the Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show, all those.
Right.
Those things, they didn't care. They're like, yeah, sure. Is it appropriate for Elmer Fudd to shoot at Bugs Bunny only to have Bugs plug the shotgun barrel and have it blow up in his face? My parents say yes, because it's a cartoon, and I don't.
You just had to stop and shoot at bugs, man. I mean,
the Coyote and Roadrunner things are hysterical.
Newsflash: it's not illegal for him to shoot Bugs Bunny.
No,
as long as it's in season. And there's even a cartoon about that.
Bugs Bunny would dress up as a female character to mock the person he's the antagonist with, whether it's Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam or the Crusher or any of those characters. He wasn't doing it trying to promote trans values or anything. Goofy, it was a joke that was started with Milton Berle.
Milton Berle, yeah.
Milton Berle did that.
And whoever he stole it from.
Here's this ugly guy with a cigar wearing a dress. Isn't that funny? Yes, it's hysterical because it's ridiculous and absurd. It should still be ridiculous and absurd today for a lot of people.
Well, it's so sad because you can't even have the joke like it. Yeah, they're totally ruining what the joke meant. Right? Like, it's like, no, we know it's Bugs Bunny. We do. That's the joke, is that Elmer Fudd is stupid enough to think it's some hot chick.
Yes,
in the fucking woods.
It's called dramatic irony. When the audience knows something, the characters they're watching does not.
I knew this at 4.
Yeah.
It's like, that dumb idiot. That's Bugs Bunny.
But it also goes back to the joke that was in Wayne's World, where Garth says, "Do you think
I was going to bring that up
by Bugs Bunny when he dressed up as female Buddy?" And it just made Mike Myers laugh.
That was an improv. I don't know if I'm sure you knew that, but
improv, yeah.
Yeah, that was at the tail end of the bit, because they said the lines they were supposed to say, and they didn't. And the director didn't say cut. Penelope didn't say cut, and so
She was
just
lucky she
said
had
that.
2 cameras on for that scene too,
Yeah,
because
Dana just fucking says it out of nowhere. And so the first reaction Mike had was his actual reaction. That's why he's not really sounding like
Wayne, yeah.
they left it in. It was great. It's probably one of the most memorable scenes of the film.
But not only that, if you want to take a look at other cartoons, Rocky and Bullwinkle, that's a great one.
Oh
too.
fuck.
I mean, it's good for kids on the basic level, but adults really like it. Like, who doesn't want to go to What's the Matter You? Come on.
Well, they even took the fun out of drag shows, right? Because like, look, I was somebody who's very progressive. I loved shit like, I mean, I even call him fucking God, I just forgot his damn name.
Are you talking about Divine?
Waters?
Oh,
yeah,
John
well,
Waters. Yeah,
Uncle John. You know, like fucking between that and he's everybody's gay uncle.
well,
right? He's that cool.
Dame Edna Eldridge, an Australian comic who would make fun of the elite class, dressing up as a woman, but on top of that, she dressed up in a dress that was shaped and rigid like a house, and it's a joke. Like, and the thing is, what's funny is that she is being, what Robin Williams did a nod to her with Mrs. Doubtfire, which is like he's doing that. He's being a man dressed as a woman, an older lady who's trying to have fun. You wouldn't have a problem with your kids, watching what they're doing, because they're, even though it's a man doing a woman in a funny, silly accent and making snide jokes, it's not trying to corrupt children. It's just trying to have fun so that they can laugh with it. I mean, if you were to try and do a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire today, if Robin Williams were still alive, one of the things you could definitely do as an angle is he's exposed as being a man playing a woman, and the right-wing crazies are worried that he's indoctrinating their kids, and he's got to fight in order to preserve, his grandchildren and reputation and stuff. And guess what? That would probably have been a very funny movie, because he would have hit both sides of it as well, especially for the ones that are trying to copy him and do all the weird stuff. And it's Mrs. Doubtfire versus, the 20-something that's trying to act like a woman and exploit what he was doing for the benefit of educating and helping kids get through hard times. And they're just like doing it for themselves. So you have the selfless stuff.
I think it really worked then, and I'm not even so sure that you could do a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and that's a plausibility, but like the thing that worked for it is he wasn't doing it just to see his kids. Like that was part of it, right? Like,
right.
It was because he also loved his wife still, right? So that was the big part of it. So it wasn't like in a creepy way at all. Like that's the reason it worked, because it wasn't just because it was Robin Williams. It was the whole setup, right? And even in that setup, it didn't work out in the end. Like it actually went with a more realistic kind of situation. What would have probably, I mean, honestly, he probably would have gotten more trouble, but let's be real.
I mean, the thing is, like Sally Field, when she's introduced in that movie, she's already ready to dump her husband, because the moment before we realize that she's married to Robin Williams, we get the hint that, oh yeah, this guy from college is coming into her, and she's like, really? Wow. Oh my God, he was so dreamy. And then you're like,
James Bond. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And then it's like the birthday party. I'm getting a divorce because I want to date this client that's coming in to see me, that is my old friend. It's like, you're a horrible woman. And then at the end, she's the one that's like burns the paper, says, you know what, screw it, I was wrong. Yes, we're not a great couple together, but I'm not going to hold you away from your kids.
Oh, it's because he's not a bad dad. He's just a bad husband. That's what it was.
Yeah, he needs to grow up to be a better husband and a better father, even though he's a fun dad. He's never really.
See, it's easy to do a message and tell a story that's entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you lose everything. Where are you, fucking Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman, when we need you now? Oh, yeah.
Well, that age, man, gets to them.
I know.
The sad part is because of a company like Disney, a lot of the people that would have been their successors, that would have carried the torch for the next generation, are either suppressed in the industry or completely weeded out.
Or they're Seth Rogen. Waltman 4 cents in 4.99 says, shout out to Clownfish. Yeah. Shout out to Clownfish TV for getting their Disney just lost. Yeah, I saw that in the thumbnail in the O'Keefe video. That was pretty cool. And we got Mr. Tickle Drunk, who's been a member for 36 months. My math's correct. That's 3 years, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow. You can get a wow out of that. Mr. Tickle Drunk sends in another super chat and says, no camera on her, though. Is she hot at least? Well, the way he's spilling info, she probably was pretty good looking. Because he's trying to sound really, really important. Anyway, Too Tired sends in 5 and says, hate to say it, but the US DOD is the same way. White enlisted bots don't get promoted anymore.
Oh, the Department of Defense.
Yeah, well, this is what Scribe was saying, and other people have been saying. This is not just a Disney problem. It's not just a Hollywood problem. This is a corporate problem. This is across the board in a lot of different places. I would say pretty much any place but blue collar jobs.
Small businesses don't have this. Startups have this issue. I mean, that's the other part. Startups have this
No,
issue.
that's almost blue collar in a way, but yeah.
But I mean, they're getting they need to get funding, right? And the people that have money that would give them the funding are like, well, we have this mandate because we don't want to be associated with a company that's exclusive to other people. So if you want to work on this, if you want us to invest in your startup business, that's probably going to, do some really good work or what have you, you got to acquiesce to our demands as well, because it's our money going there. But if you're like running a mom and pop shop or, legacy business or something on the small side, you don't have to worry about this at all. And you're not going to find that type of stuff there. But unfortunately, you'll find it in the big box stores. You'll find it in big tech and corporations such as like Amazon, Walmart, and then, Hollywood. And then especially in politics and all of their programs that are funded by them. It's everywhere. And the only way you can kind of get it changed is, again, at the local level. You got to get involved.
Yeah. Run for governor. There you go. Run for mayor. Local. Super Cosmic Mutant Honey Candle Squid is here. How you been? Sends in $5. Says, I can bet you the person who did the whole "they're not black enough" rejection was a black woman, because we're good for pulling crap like that, for fuck's sake. I didn't want to say it, but thank God somebody else did.
Okay. I will defer to you, Super Cosmic Mutant Honey Candle Squid.
No, I mean, you're not wrong, because I've noticed that it matters more to people of that race, let's say, is the best way I can put it, than it does to any fucking buddy else. To be honest with you. I've seen it. Ken Riegard says, I think he's not getting enough blood to the brain. Maybe. He does need to get laid, clearly. Mr. Tickletrunk says, notice he nods yes as soon as she starts talking. Well, it's because she hardly ever talks. Mr. Tickletrunk says, in saying this, reporting has to be by regular people. Well, yes. I mean, would you consider James O'Keefe quote unquote regular people per se?
I mean, he tries to stick to a set of ethics, although he's very controversial, and he's gone through number of lawsuits as a result of that. And even some of his own reporting has been subject to fair scrutiny. I would argue he's not perfect, but you also have to remember he also really wants to be an actor. So take that for what it is. I mean, his facial hair in that video, that's him growing that out for I think a stage play part where he's or something, because who has mutton chops and a goatee like that on the regular, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's not really attached to any mainstream, I guess.
No, he just likes to perform and do those things.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of I mean, I know he's not part of Veritas anymore or whatever and all that business. So
they booted him from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I guess it could be considered regular people. I mean, honestly, if we had the time, the facilities to do more investigative work like that, I'm sure we would think of things to do like that too. But it's also kind of dangerous to do some of those things. I mean, but it is kind of old school journalism in a lot of ways. And that's something that is sadly lacking and missing, because a lot of our mainstream media is so controlled by these folks that, yeah.
I mean, it's legacy right now, because the mainstream is unfortunately on YouTube and social media right now. Like Joe Rogan is.
Yeah, I guess you want to look at it that way. Yeah,
it's basically by numbers and audience, right? So if right now it's the legacy media that's being propped up by, of course, subsidiaries and other aspects, and then there's Joe Rogan and that Coast guy, and the
True
James O'Keefe and them. They're probably mainstream because they're getting more interaction, they're getting more traction than the legacy media.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's the category where I'd put this O'Keefe guy into. Anyway, it's probably like the Rogan type category.
Yeah.
Although Rogan's got more support from
Oh yeah, like even Tim Pool, you could argue he's mainstream now. He's mainstream on YouTube, Minds.
Yeah, that's where I would put this guy. Definitely, yeah, I agree with you there. Hound Monkey sends in a 5-month member milestone. Thank you for that, Hound Monkey. And Forgotten Oklahoma didn't say anything. Just send in a $1.99. If you did want to say anything, just add us real quick. I know sometimes they can be tricky and you end up hitting a button you don't mean to hit. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Forgotten Oklahoma. We will not forget you. That's right. And yeah, so you know what? We've gone so overtime. I kind of had this feeling we weren't going to get to everything. I don't know if Andre really wants to tackle this music video thing tomorrow, but we're gonna, because it's already late in the tooth here, or long in the tooth. Sorry. So yeah, let's wrap this up. This has been an interesting day for news. So I'm sure tomorrow morning will be just as interesting. What did you send me here, Price? Oh, okay.
Oh, it's our Quantum Leap show later.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll link this to the thing. And yeah, so Price, why don't you start? I'll throw this in the chat so everybody knows what you're talking about, and we'll go from there.
Price
Hey,
is
I'm Price of Reason. Check out my show tonight at 9 o'clock.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute, but I'm also an idiot at the same time. I did the wrong time.
It's okay. I did to you what you do to
what I do to Nick, and I deserve it. No, but I messed up. Let me see now if it's actually the right time.
How was my price?
It was pretty good.
It's supposed to be 10:45. You got it at 11:45 right now.
Oh, is it 10:45? That's what it starts. It says 10:45 on my end. I don't know if that's correct.
Now it's correct. 10 p.m. So in 23 minutes.
Yes, that's
corrected it. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so yes, so check that out. You'll be talking about The Leap Home Part 1. How far are you into this? Holy crap!
Season 3, episode 1.
Yeah, season 3, episode 1. It's a great episode.
Wow, I'm getting so far behind. I'll never catch up with you guys. I haven't.
You just.
I figured I'd just watch an episode
and join us.
Man. I know.
But whenever is good for you.
I have the Blu-ray set too. I have no real excuse.
You know what's kind of funny is that we're getting some thunderstorms now in the area. So you should be getting some too, Tom. Just on a rainy day, just put in the box set, and within 2 days you'll be caught up to us.
I know. I gotta quit watching other shit all the time. They're working so much. We put out 3 videos in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
Or 24 hours, not even 48 hours, 24 hours. We're counting 48 hours. I think it's even more than that. Yeah. Jesus. So it's been nuts. And I edited 2.5 or 1.5 of those, or most of one in a full one last night and one today. So yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy day. All this news dropping. So we'll have more to talk about in the morning show. Script Doctor will be showing up on Price's show, but anything else you got going on?
Price, you sir, you have the night owl, right?
Yeah, I have the night owl at 11:45 p.m. That's why I kind of messed everything up, and I set the wrong time for the wrong stream. I guess I'm getting tired. But yeah, at 11:45 p.m. there's the night owl, and then 10 p.m. there's the Quantum Leap one. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Script. You should tell us what you have going on.
Yeah, this Saturday, Scripts on Saturdays. We've got one of the second best screenplay from the Blacklist. We're reviewing this Saturday, which is giving me good vibes because the number 1 screenplay I reviewed was actually really good, really good, genuinely good. So I'm hoping this one will be good as well. I've got Raul from Raul Productions joining us this Saturday to discuss it, and then so come by to swing on over and check us out there on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pacific.
Awesome sauce. CC, karaoke.
Karaoke is tomorrow night. We'll sing songs.
We do
come hang out.
Awesome sauce. And yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
Go take a nap.
It's Thursday. I don't know what I do on Thursdays anymore. I might take a nap, or I'll probably go watch a movie or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for joining me, us and me, of course. We will be on the morning show tomorrow. Check us out there. I'm sure we'll talk about the rap song there. I mean, I can rap better than this bitch. You guys hear this song? Like, this is a horrible song. Let's fuck what it's about. It's just a shit song.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you know what? In 1989, it would have been awesome.
I don't even know about that.
Not even.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
it looks like a 1989 music video.
regardless, it sounds like shit.
In 1989, Run DMC and the Beastie Boys would have been taking a dump on this lady.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, and this is somebody who is actually technically a professional musician.
Really?
It sucks.
Well, they auto-tuned the hell out of it.
Not that any modern music's any good, but still.
Again, it's all crutched by the overproduced technology that's used right now. Like you're not going to get a true live recording performance of a song, and you're not even going to get a song that's really technically written by an actual person.
My AI shit's better than her real shit. I got Dog Poo on My Shoe is a better song than that.
And you can download it on iTunes for what?
Not yet, but you can watch it on YouTube's.
The only real music out there right now is the music followed by a few hundred people.
I think the AI
dig
music
for
craze
it.
got past me by, so, but whatever. It is what it is. I had fun.
Oh, dude! Like again, AI is going to have a very short shelf life. I'm sorry to say. It's going to have its
AI is pretty shit.
It's going to have some uses in data collection and some basic problem solving, but it's.
I'm okay with being the Fred Flintstone of YouTube. Okay, I can deal with that.
Oh, like AI, I can see it being good for parody videos and just like having fun with stuff that's not meant to be taken seriously.
Unfortunately,
but it's
yes
never,
and no.
You know,
I can't control it enough to do the stuff I want to do with it because I could be infinitely more creative if it let me do half the shit it let me do.
Yeah, but the health and safety protocols are prohibiting you from doing that.
Fuckers.
Which is what I told you. Like, even with the stuff that you buy, guess what? They're still going to put in those restrictions because they don't want it to be used for deep fakes and illegal stuff. And I mean, they really are terrified because they do know that if you somehow cause damage to another person's reputation, the AI company will also be a defendant in that case, in that lawsuit, as part of the complaint, because they facilitated the technology that allowed them to exploit someone else for their.
It's not even really that. Okay, like
that's why it is. Yeah,
yeah, I get what you're saying, but like my problem is this, and I'm not even trying to sound like, okay, how do I word this? I think a lot of the stuff I was trying to do was way too complex, and because I learned that the only time I would get bigger hits is if I do what I would consider lower brow stuff, like dog poo on my fucking shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's to me like stuff you come up with in your fucking sleep. Like I had whole kind of concept shits where if you listen to it, it's you get it, but and it works in a certain small niche crowd, but
yeah, no, it's the common denominator. It's like you have to do a lot of I sharded this
I didn't
morning.
I didn't want to copy everybody else. I wanted to do my own thing, but nobody was checking into it because the jokes were usually hidden, or you didn't get to the joke until a certain point.
You're my Valentine shart.
It's like there is some of them are so lowbrow that it's like, how does that shit have 300,000 fucking views?
Sucks, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's an aspect of mostly the audience, not necessarily the algorithm.
And I get it, and I'm not trying to say people are stupid, but
no, it's not about stupidity. It's just people like
I'm not trying to
more accessible.
And I'm not trying to say like I'm too good for or anything like that. It's just like no. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I get it. I was a little too ambitious. But even when I do go lowbrow, I feel like
You're not going to get AI to create something that sounds or looks complete or good or big. Once you embrace the fact that it's going to create shit for you and you lean into it, I suppose there's a space for it, right? Where, okay, this is shit, but it's going to be funny, entertaining shit.
This is shit we should be talking about after the show anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I still got some bangers I haven't released yet. But
I have a low opinion of AI's capabilities, so I'll just leave it at that.
Having worked with it on the back end side for a few months, I have to say, yeah, you're not wrong, because I've crashed some of the most advanced ones out there with simple logic problems, man. And there's other people that can make the AI do stuff that's very offensive without actually putting any bad language in their prompts. It's not the end all the way you think it is, and anyone telling you otherwise is full of crap.
And with that, I think we're gonna leave y'all. Thank you so much for being here. You've hung in there this whole time. I see Six is still in the chat, even though she left us from the show. Hopefully you get some rest. Probably. Mr. Berger seems to love them so much that he's doing an animated video.
Oh, yeah, look. The writing's great, and that video clip I saw was fantastic. That's what I mean. You have the great writing. You put it with a really human hand creative video like what Mr. Berger can create, and then you're onto something, right? But it's never going to create what a human being can do on a live stage with that full mixed sound. It's never gonna have that, right?
I agree with you.
It doesn't need to be if it's a parody.
I agree with
animation.
you, but I will say that it is surprisingly interesting what this thing can do. You're right.
Yeah.
At this point now, it doesn't replace a real band and the sound in the mix. But I feel like if you give it enough versions and enough time, this thing may actually get better. And
I mean, we're getting close.
We're getting close. I mean, as of now, you're right, CC. But I worry what'll happen like 10 versions from now.
I understand that.
So, I'll put it to you this way: it's not so much that it's getting better; it's that the human aspect has gotten lazier, and that's why it appears like it's getting better.
Maybe
that may be because you got stuff like this sounds pretty well produced, whether you like country music or not.
No, it sounds kind of like what it's supposed to be.
Well, it's the vocals where it really struggles.
Once they improve the vocals, it's going to get scary, in my opinion, because the music, they're getting better at that.
Well, I mean, GarageBand, you can just enter these notes in the instrument and get the same results.
Casino song.
So, like, it's already there to a point. Heck, I know guys who with a traditional 88 keyboard, like the digital one that you can connect to your computer, they can play any instrument on that because all they have to do is just change what the output is on their keyboard. So if they want to play a guitar, but they're using a keyboard to do so, like 88 keys, they can give you a guitar.
But I did it to make
like
this too. Like
they've been able to do that for 20 years.
And
I think just get real people to record the vocals over the instrumentation for now.
Yeah, that could
because
be.
the vocals are the toughest part.
But I don't know if I could get shit like this.
Please don't get pineapple on your pizza. It's a scientific fact that pineapple goes bad the moment you put it on pizza. And so does the pizza flavor. So please
that
don't do
works.
that to me.
Create a cool animation to go with it.
I don't know,
But anything like more
we're losing the
serious,
audience. So, all right, guys, take care of yourselves. We love you. Be cool. And as a
reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said